Chapter 316. Ling Xiao decided to bring Li Ling and Lung Feng back. Meng Ao had already been conferred the title of Grand Marshal by Xia Huang and was in charge of the million-strong army of the Great Desolation ancient country as well as the most elite royal guards. Lu Xiongfei was also conferred the title of Prime Minister and was in charge of internal affairs. Ling Xiao knew that Xia Huang wanted to maintain a good relationship with him for his sake. Ling Xiao accepted such good intentions and left enough spiritual crystals and spiritual pills for Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei. As long as there were no accidents, they would be able to break through to the celestial realm very soon. At the same time, Ling Xiao also taught Meng Ao a heaven-class middle-class martial art, Universal Demon Subduing Halberd. It complemented Meng Ao's halberd perfectly. On the other hand, Ling Xiao left the Tiger Soul Divine Saber Slash and Tiger Soul Divine Saber Slash to Lu Xiongfei. Lu Xiongfei was skilled in both the sword and the flying saber, but his natural talent in the saber Dao was even stronger. If he were to cultivate the Tiger Soul Divine Saber Slash to perfection, then it wouldn't be impossible for him to break through into the royal realm or even the monarch realm in the future. After arranging everything, Ling Xiao brought Lung Feng and Li Ling to meet up with Xia Huang and the rest, preparing to head to the Changsun sect. A gigantic dragon-shaped ancient sword soared into the sky like a divine rainbow. Its speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared from the sky above the capital. The dragon-shaped ancient sword was the Great Desolation Dragon Sword, a mid-grade Dao artifact. It was the strongest divine weapon in the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom and also Xia Huang's personal sword. The Great Desolation Dragon Sword under Ling Xiao's feet was filled with dragon might. It was like a giant dragon crossing the heavens, and its speed was extremely fast. "Holy Son, my mother asked me to pass this to you." Lung Feng walked to Ling Xiao's side and handed him a map. The ink on the map was still wet, so it must have been drawn not long ago. "This is the location of the cold miasma?" Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, instantly recognizing the map that Lung Feng had given him. On it was a detailed record of the place where Lung Feng's parents had accidentally entered the cold miasma. "Saint, is there any treasure at the location of the cold miasma?" Lung Feng asked curiously. Ling Xiao smiled slightly and said, "There are some spirit medicines that are very important to me. Help me thank Madame Lung." Lung Feng waved his hand and said, "The Holy Sun is too polite. My mother said that it's her honor to be able to help the Holy Sun." Ling Xiao smiled. With this map, he would be able to find the 9 heaven spiritual herb very quickly. By then, he would be able to make another breakthrough in the secret skill of the ancestral dragon. The third level of the body of the flying dragon had the ability to fly and burrow into the ground. When combined with the secret teleportation technique, even noble plane cultivators would find it difficult to match Ling Xiao's speed. The valley where the cold miasma is located is not far from here. I can take a look along the way. Ling Xiao looked at the map carefully and told Xia Huang his idea. Xia Huang naturally had no objections. The Great Desolation Dragon Sword flashed and rushed towards the endless ferocious beast mountain range below. Just as Ling Xiao was following the map and heading towards the valley where the frosty miasma was located, Ling Xiao suddenly stopped. Vicious Beast Mountain Range. Zhao Ritian was dressed in a golden robe with a jade crown on his head. He was riding a unicorn covered in red scales. He looked extremely flashy. "Second uncle, are you saying that this ferocious Beast Mountain Range really has the 9 heavens spirit dissolving herb? That is the supreme king herb. Even our Sun Moon Star sect only has a few of them." Zhao Ritian muttered to himself as he rode on the unicorn at an extremely fast speed. "Don't worry. If I say there is the 9 heaven spiritual herb, there will definitely be it. When you get the 9 heaven spiritual herb, you will be able to completely transform your soul into the legendary pure yang primordial spirit. By then, your holy body of the sun will be completely awakened. The small 8 desolation region will be nothing to you. By then, even honorable plane cultivators will have to kneel before you." An old voice came from Zhao Ritian's body as he chuckled. Zhao Ritian's eyes revealed a hint of excitement as he said, "Second uncle, do I really have such a powerful body? The legendary holy body of the sun is a natural-born honorable plane cultivator. I feel that my talent in alchemy is slightly stronger, but my talent in martial arts isn't that strong. I'm far weaker than my elder brother. What is your elder brother? At most, he has the 9-son bloodline that is comparable to a king. Moreover, it is not pure. It is far weaker than your holy body of the sun. Listen to your second uncle. Once your holy body of the sun is completely awakened, you will be invincible in the world. There was a hint of disdain in the old voice. Really? Second uncle? That's great. Zhao Ritian was so excited that his face turned red. I knew it. I, Zhao Ritian, am a peerless genius. In the future, I will definitely become a peerless honorable plane cultivator. I will be invincible in the world. Once I awaken my holy body of the sun, I will definitely defeat that kid Ling Xiao and vent my anger. Ling Xiao? That kid is not simple. Don't provoke him. The old voice said. Second uncle, don't worry. I will ignore him for now. Once I awaken my holy body of the sun, I will settle the score with him. That kid is too arrogant. I have never seen anyone more arrogant than I, Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian snorted coldly as his eyes were filled with anger. We have arrived at the frigid miasma land. The old voice was a little speechless. Suddenly, he felt the mysterious aura and exclaimed in surprise. In front of Zhao Ritian, there were a few mountains that pierced through the clouds. They were majestic. Countless ancient trees stood tall and gave off a desolate aura. Between the mountains, there was a mysterious valley. It was shrouded in a layer of white mist that drifted in all directions. The surroundings were very quiet. There was not a single sound from any living being. Second uncle, is the 9 heavens spiritual herb that you mentioned in this valley? Zhao Ritian pulled on the reins of the unicorn, his eyes gleaming with eagerness. This unicorn was a peak rank 5 demonic beast. It had the bloodline of an archaic species. Although it was very thin, it was very powerful. It was the second uncle who helped him tame it. That's right. It is this valley. However, you have to be careful. This frigid miasma is very strange. If it enters your body, it will be very troublesome. The second uncle warned. Don't worry. I, Zhao Ritian, am a martial artist. What is a mere frigid miasma to me? Zhao Ritian was very showy. His eyes were filled with arrogance as he rode the unicorn into the valley. Buzz. The white frigid miasma contained a trace of cold aura. As if it had sensed the presence of a living being, it began to ripple and enveloped Zhao Ritian. Scram! Zhao Ritian shouted coldly. Instantly, blazing flames rose around his body. Red clouds surrounded him and emitted a faint golden light. It was as if the void was trembling slightly. It was the scorching sun heavenly fire that Zhao Ritian had refined. The scorching sun heavenly fire seemed to be the nemesis of the frigid miasma. The white frigid miasma retreated instantly, opening up a path. Second uncle, my scorching sun heavenly fire is not bad, right? Zhao Ritian smiled proudly. It is not bad. I forgot that you have refined the heavenly fire. This is even better. When you get the 9 heaven spiritual herb, I will teach you the method to refine the legendary Great Sundao pill. I guarantee that you will be able to transform into a pure young primordial spirit. The second uncle said with a smile. Thank you, second uncle. Second uncle, you are the best to me. Big brother only knows how to cultivate. He has never cared about me. Zhao Ritian said emotionally. Silly child. Who asked me to be your second uncle? Let's go. Chapter 317. The valley that was enveloped by the cold miasma was not as dangerous as Zhao Ritian had imagined. Instead, it was filled with flowers and ancient trees. It was like a fairyland. Ancient vines curled about within the valley. The ancient trees were tall and strong, exuding an exuberant vitality. Above the distant cliff, a snow-white waterfall flowed down 3,000 feet. It released rumbling sounds as it landed in the deep pool below. Second elder, where is the 9 heavens spiritual herb? Didn't they say that the 9 heavens spiritual herb grows in places where the stars gather? Places of extreme yin and extreme cold? Why is this place different from what we imagined? Zhao Ritian looked at the valley in front of him curiously. There was no cold aura in the valley. Instead, there was a gentle aura that spread out, making one feel warm all over. Extreme yin begets yang, extreme yang star energy. This place is indeed a treasure trove. Ritian, if I'm not wrong, the 9 heavens spiritual herb should be behind the waterfall. Go and bring it back. This is the best place for you to break through to the pure yang primordial spirit. However, the 9 heavens spiritual herb is a king herb. It will definitely be guarded by powerful demonic beasts. You have to be careful. Second elder warned. Is it under the waterfall? Don't worry, second elder. I'll be careful. Zhao Ritian's eyes lit up. He rode the unicorn to the side of the waterfall in an instant. Then he leaped behind the waterfall. As the snow-white waterfall fell, the water splashed and rumbled like thunder. Endless water vapor filled the air, emitting an icy chill. After Zhao Ritian entered the waterfall, he immediately shivered. He felt that his body was about to freeze. The waterfall seemed to contain an extreme cold energy that was bone-chilling. Don't worry. The chill in the waterfall is the extreme yin energy. It won't do you any harm. The 9 heavens spiritual herb is there. Go and get it. Second elder's voice carried a hint of excitement. On the black stone wall below the waterfall, there was a stone platform. There was a faint light surrounding it. A silver grass grew on the stone platform. The grass was emitting a silver glow. Its leaves were as delicate as jade and emitted a faint fragrance. It was as if countless stars were flowing on it. It really is the 9 heavens spiritual grass. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with excitement. He leaped forward and reached out his hand to grab the silver grass. Be careful. Zhao Ritian also felt a sense of crisis at the same time when second uncle's voice was heard. Rumble. Behind him, a cold, murderous aura filled the air. Furthermore, a silver ray of light shot across the sky and landed on Zhao Ritian's back. It emitted a majestic force and sent him flying. Runes flickered on Zhao Ritian's body. His golden robe shone brightly, emitting an incomparably strong defensive power. That was why he was not injured. Only then did Zhao Ritian realize that a huge silver python had appeared behind him. It was more than 100 feet long and its body was covered in dazzling silver scales. Its pair of blood-red eyes were staring at Zhao Ritian with a murderous aura. In particular, there was a silver sarcoma on its head. Silver thunder python. Who would have thought that there would be such a demonic beast? It seems like it wants to wait until the 9 heavens spiritual grass is fully matured before swallowing it to degenerate into a thunder dragon? How ambitious! However, it's only at the peak of rank 5. It's not a threat. Rian, go and kill it. Second uncle's surprised voice was heard as he explained the situation to Zhao Ritian. It turned out that the silver thunder python possessed a trace of the immemorial thunder dragon's bloodline. It was considered an immemorial mutant and could control lightning. It was extremely powerful. The 9 heavens spiritual grass had a magical effect on the silver thunder python. It could possibly activate its thunder dragon's bloodline and completely transform it into a dragon. The 9 heavens spiritual grass belongs to me, Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian snorted coldly. He was unhappy that he was ambushed by the silver thunder python. Suddenly, a snow-white battle saber appeared in his hand. It emitted a dazzling light and a strong saber intent. It slashed towards the silver thunder python. Rumble. The silver thunder python let out a long hiss and whipped its tail across the sky. It was emitting silver lightning at an extremely fast speed. When the battle saber landed on the silver thunder python's body, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Sparks flew and Zhao Ritian's arm went numb. The battle saber almost flew out of his hand. Boom! The silver thunder python spat out a silver lightning ball towards Ling Xiao. Zhao Ritian's eyes widened. Without hesitation, he threw a punch. The scorching sun heavenly fire gathered around his fist. The fire instantly engulfed the lightning ball and exploded it. A mysterious and ancient aura emanated from Zhao Ritian's body. It instantly suppressed the silver thunder python, emitting an aura that made one's soul tremble. The silver thunder python, which was initially ferocious, trembled. A trace of fear could be seen in its eyes. When Zhao Ritian saw the opportunity, he slashed down with his saber. The snow-white saber light drowned the silver thunder python. It emitted traces of blood, and many of the scales on the silver thunder python's body were shattered. Kill the silver thunder python. Its demonic pill is extremely precious. It will benefit you greatly. You must not let it escape. The second elder had just used his aura to suppress the silver thunder python. His voice was weak as he spoke. Don't worry, second elder. I'll definitely kill it. Zhao Ritian pulled himself together and said confidently. The aura suppression from the second elder seemed to contain a force that could directly attack one's soul. The silver thunder python looked at Zhao Ritian with less ferocity. Instead, there was a trace of fear in its eyes. Boom! The silver thunder python swept its tail again. After sending Zhao Ritian flying, it turned into a silver light and fled towards the bottom of the waterfall. Where do you think you're going? Zhao Ritian was enraged. He held his battle saber and his golden robe emitted a dazzling light. He chased after the silver thunder python and entered the deep pool under the waterfall. Rumble! The water vapor surged and the saber light flashed in the deep pool. However, it soon returned to normal. Zhao Ritian chased after the silver thunder python into the depths of the pool. Swoosh! At this moment, a golden lightning flashed across the sky. It pierced through the cold poison outside the valley and entered the valley. Extreme Yin begets Yang. Extreme Yang star energy. This is indeed the place where the 9 heavens spiritual herb grows. If I'm not wrong, the 9 heavens spiritual herb should be behind the waterfall. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of excitement. In his hand, the Qi drawing stone emitted a silver light that flickered between light and dark. The Qi drawing stone that Ji Feishuan gave him contained a trace of the 9 heavens spiritual herb's aura. As long as he was within 1,000 feet of the 9 heavens spiritual herb, the Qi drawing stone would light up. Ling Xiao asked Xia Huang and the rest to wait for him outside the valley while he entered the valley with the Qi drawing stone. Indeed, he found the 9 heavens spiritual herb. Ling Xiao leaped up and used the sky-devouring secret skill. His aura was completely concealed as he flew towards the waterfall. Ling Xiao knew that the 9 heavens spiritual herb was the king of herbs. It would be best if he could obtain the 9 heavens spiritual herb without anyone noticing. Otherwise, there would be a fierce battle. Unicorn? Could it be that someone else has entered this place? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he saw the unicorn beside the waterfall. His eyes lit up and he flew towards the back of the waterfall at an even faster speed. Chapter 318. In the valley, a huge waterfall flowed down. After Ling Xiao leaped into the waterfall, he immediately saw the silver blade of grass on the black cliff. It really is the 9 heavens spiritual grass. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with joy. However, he was very cautious and did not immediately pick the grass. Instead, he carefully sensed the surroundings with the power of his soul. He did not discover any danger. Strange, this 9 heavens spiritual grass doesn't have any demonic beasts guarding it? Who left the unicorn behind? Ling Xiao found it strange, but he still leaped onto the stone platform. The 9 heavens spiritual grass shone with a brilliant silver light. Its leaves were sparkling and translucent, and its fragrance wafted into his nose. It looked very delicate. Ling Xiao carefully picked the 9 heavens spiritual grass and placed it in a jade box. He placed it in his longevity ring. With this 9 heavens spiritual grass, I just need to gather a few other spiritual herbs and I can begin to break through to the body of the flying dragon. Then I'll be able to fly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with anticipation. Although his heaven-devouring qi was very dense and could allow him to fly for a short period of time, he could not fly for long periods of time or long distances. Cultivators cultivated martial arts and comprehended everything in the world. Being able to fly and break free from the shackles of the earth was an irresistible temptation to everyone. Rumble! At that moment, the pool below began to tremble violently. Endless waves of water surged into the sky and exploded in the air. A powerful ripple spread out. There are ripples of a battle? Could it be that someone is fighting in the pool? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he thought of the unicorn outside the waterfall. He guessed that the owner of the unicorn wanted to pick the 9 heavens spiritual grass and was attacked by the demonic beast. Were they fighting? Ling Zhao's lips curled into a strange smile. If that was really the case, then he was the one who picked the fruit. If the owner of the unicorn knew about this, he would definitely vomit blood in anger. Boom! A loud roar rang out, accompanied by an explosion that shook the sky. It was as if some powerful creature in the pool had self-destructed. The black pool was instantly dyed red. A dazzling stream of light soared into the sky and headed toward Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao waved his hand and the light landed in his palm. It turned into a dazzling silver Yao pill. It looked like it was flowing with a beautiful light and there were traces of silver lightning around it. It was very strange. It's the demonic core of the thunder python? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. From the color and aura of the monster core, he instantly recognized the origin of this monster core. The silver thunder python had a trace of the immemorial thunder dragon's bloodline. It could be considered an immemorial variant and was very powerful. Legend had it that if the bloodline was completely cleansed, it could even evolve into an immemorial thunder dragon. It's only right for the thunder silver python to protect the 9 heavens spiritual grass. Ling Xiao nodded. At this moment, the silver-ringed lightning snake on his wrist woke up. To be exact, it was awakened by the silver thunder python's Yao Dan. It revealed a trace of urgency and desire. You want this Yao core? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. The silver-ringed lightning snake nodded repeatedly. Its eyes revealed a trace of human-like excitement. The silver-ringed lightning snake also had the bloodline of a true dragon and could control the power of lightning. The silver thunder python's Yao Dan was very attractive to it. If it could completely refine it, it might be able to break through to the 5th rank. Alright, this Yao core is yours. Ling Xiao smiled and handed the silver thunder python's Yao Dan to the silver-ringed lightning snake. The silver-ringed lightning snake excitedly and intimately rubbed against Ling Zhao's arm. Its body wrapped around the silver thunder python and began to extract and refine the energy of the Yao Dan. Although the silver thunder python's Yao Dan was precious, it was useless to Ling Xiao. However, it was very attractive to the silver-ringed lightning snake. It could be used to cultivate the silver-ringed lightning snake's strength and leave it for Shui Wei to protect herself in the future. Boom! At this moment, a wave exploded in the deep pool. Zhao Ritian, dressed in a golden robe and his black hair flying, rushed out of the pool. His eyes were full of arrogance. But in the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He saw Ling Xiao and the silver thunder python's Yao Dan in his hand. Stop right there. Ling Xiao, why are you here? That silver thunder python's Yao Dan is mine. Give it back to me. Zhao Ritian roared. His face was full of anger and his eyes were about to spit fire. Zhao Ritian fought with the thunder silver python. Although the thunder silver python was extremely strong, Zhao Ritian had the help of second uncle. In the end, he managed to suppress the thunder silver python. Who knew that the thunder silver python would rather die than submit? In the end, it would rather self-destruct than submit to Zhao Ritian. The silver thunder python exploded into pieces in the deep pool, leaving only a Yao Dan behind. Zhao Ritian originally wanted to collect the spoils of war, but he did not expect that someone would pick the fruits of his labor. And this person was the person he hated the most, Ling Xiao. Zhao Ritian? Why are you here? Don't tell me that the unicorn outside is yours? This silver thunder python's Yao Dan flew into my hand automatically. What does it have to do with you? Go play somewhere else. After seeing Zhao Ritian, Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. He did not expect to see Zhao Ritian here. And looking at Zhao Ritian's appearance, he was about to go crazy. Staring at the Yao Dan in Ling Zhao's hand, he was filled with anger. Zhao Ritian was so angry that his whole body began to tremble. He pointed at Ling Xiao and said, Ling Xiao, that silver thunder python was killed by me. Its Yao Dan is naturally mine. Why am I here has nothing to do with you. My 9 heavens spirit dissipation herb. Ah, Zhao Ritian's gaze landed on the stone platform. When he realized that the 9 heavens spirit dissipation herb was gone, his body froze. It was as if his whole family had been killed. He screamed as flames began to spurt out of his 7 orifices. Forget about the silver thunder python's Yao Dan. The nine heavens spirit dissipation herb was related to whether Zhao Ritian could achieve the pure yang primordial spirit. It was his life. Ling Xiao taking away the nine heavens spirit dissipation herb was worse than killing him. Ling Xiao, I'll kill you. Zhao Ritian's eyes were red. His lungs were about to explode from anger. A surge of anger rushed to his head. Without thinking twice, he charged towards Ling Xiao. Swoosh! The blade in Zhao Ritian's hand emitted a blazing light. The blade light was unparalleled. It swept across the sky and slashed towards Ling Xiao. However, to Ling Xiao, this blade was not even comparable to Lung Feng's 10th blade of Azura. It was not a threat at all. Your blade technique is not bad, but it's still too weak. Ling Xiao's calm voice rang out. Then he threw out a punch. The vast fist force came crashing down from the sky. It contained a majestic force that could crush everything. It was like a divine mountain pressing down. It was unstoppable. Chapter 319. Boom! Ling Xiao's punch broke through the layers of saber chi and landed on the battle saber. Instantly, a dazzling divine light shone brightly. A vast and unparalleled force came through, causing Zhao Ritian's expression to change drastically. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying by Ling Xiao, crashing into the deep pool below. Cough, cough. Zhao Ritian rushed out from the deep pool. Although the golden robe on his body had blocked most of the force, Ling Xiao's punch was too terrifying. It had injured his internal organs. This punch had also awakened Zhao Ritian's anger. He was both shocked and furious. He could not believe his eyes. How did Ling Xiao become stronger again? That punch was as brilliant as the heavens. It made him feel as if he was facing a celestial realm expert who could mobilize the power of heaven and earth to crush everything. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. He did not hold back in that punch, but he did not expect Zhao Ritian, who looked like he was only at the 6th level of the Grandmaster realm, to be able to block his punch without suffering any serious injuries. Is it that golden robe? It's actually a Dao artifact? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the golden robe on Zhao Ritian's body. There were faint runes spreading out, as if there was a mysterious resonance with the surrounding heaven and earth. This was the power of a Dao artifact. It was intertwined with the will of heaven and earth, possessing a mysterious power. Ling Xiao did not expect Zhao Ritian to be so rich. In the entire Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, only Xia Huang had a Dao artifact. Even in the Holy Land of the martial Dao, Dao artifacts were considered the most precious treasures of the sect. Second uncle, is there any way to kill Ling Xiao? He's too much of a bully. The Nine Heavens Spirit Disintegration Herb and the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core are mine. Why did he have to come at this time? He's too shameless and too hateful. Zhao Ritian roared in his heart and called out to the second uncle. Ritian, if I had not intimidated the Thunder Silver Python, I might have tried to suppress Ling Xiao. However, I have no other way now. Moreover, Ling Xiao is too strange. I can feel a sense of threat from him. If it's not necessary, it's best not to provoke him. The second uncle's old and weak voice sounded. Second uncle, aren't you omnipotent? Even you can't deal with this kid? Zhao Ritian said in disbelief. The second master sighed and said, Ritian, I'm only a soul now, and I don't have a physical body. I'm utterly unable to utilize any powerful abilities. Anyway, just don't provoke Ling Xiao. At most, we'll just give him the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Herb and the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core. Where there's life, there's hope. There was a hint of pain and helplessness in his voice, but there was nothing he could do about it. Zhao Ritian's face instantly turned ugly. However, he didn't want to give up just like that. Ling Xiao, you're returning the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissipation Grass to me? I don't want the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core anymore. I'll give it to you. However, you must return the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissipation Grass to me. Zhao Ritian glared at Ling Xiao and said, unwilling to give up. Heavenly treasures belong to those who are fated to obtain them. You said that the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass and the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core were yours, so they were yours? If you have the ability, you can call one of them and see if they agree. Get the hell out of here, or I won't hold back anymore. Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian and smiled. To be honest, even though this Zhao Ritian was arrogant, haughty, and arrogant, Ling Xiao did not have any bad feelings towards him. Every time he saw Ling Xiao, Zhao Ritian would be in for some bad luck. This was the second time they met, and he even gave the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass and the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core to Ling Xiao. Hearing Ling Xiao's shameless words, Zhao Ritian trembled in anger. He looked at Ling Xiao with anger and helplessness. Ling Xiao, tell me, what do I have to do for you to return the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass to me? No matter if it's spiritual crystals, weapons, demonic cores, or heavenly treasures, as long as you're willing to return the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass to me, I'm willing to exchange it with you. Zhao Ritian felt like his heart was bleeding. To his dismay, he realized that he was no match for Ling Xiao. Even when the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass was snatched away by him, he could only beg Ling Xiao to return it to him. Then I'm really sorry. The Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass is very useful to me. If there's nothing else, I won't keep you company. Ling Xiao said with a smile. After that, he flew out of the waterfall. Ling Xiao, bastard. Zhao Ritian was so angry that he was about to cry. His eyes were red as he felt wronged. That was the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass. As long as he could get his hands on the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass, he would be able to completely form the pure young primordial spirit. By then, he would be able to awaken the holy body of the sun. He would be able to dominate the 8 Desolates region and conquer the world. However, this beautiful hope was cruelly snuffed out by Ling Xiao. No, I must get the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass. Zhao Ritian gritted his teeth, flew out of the waterfall and chased after Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had effortlessly obtained the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass and even gave him the Thunder Silver Python's demonic core. He was in a good mood. However, Ling Xiao realized that Zhao Ritian had also rushed out of the waterfall. He was riding on his unicorn and was chasing after him. Zhao Ritian, are you itching for a beating? Do you want to be beaten up again? Get lost while I'm in a good mood. Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian from the corner of his eyes and said slowly. Zhao Ritian was scared out of his wits. However, he still forced himself to look at Ling Xiao and said, "This road doesn't belong to you. I can go wherever I want. What does it have to do with you?" Ling Xiao smiled faintly and ignored him. If Zhao Ritian wanted to follow him, so be it. Ling Xiao would never give him the Nine Heavens Spirit Dissolving Grass. After leaving the valley that was shrouded in the cold miasma, Ling Xiao saw Xia Huang and the rest waiting outside. "You're out so soon? Did you find the spiritual medicine you needed?" Xia Huang and the rest asked in surprise. Ling Xiao had been in the valley for less than 15 minutes. Wasn't the speed too fast? Moreover, they also noticed Zhao Ritian, who was following behind Ling Xiao. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. Why was Zhao Ritian here? Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. On the other hand, Zhao Ritian's face darkened. Ling Xiao had obtained the Nine Heavens Spiritual Herb and the Thunder Silver Python's demonic pill. It was as if Ling Xiao had stolen his peaches. "Then let's go. Young Master Zhao, do you want to come with us?" Xia Huang smiled faintly as his gaze fell on Zhao Ritian. No matter what, Zhao Ritian was from the Sun Moon Star sect. With the relationship between the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom and the Sun Moon Star sect, Xia Huang couldn't ignore him. "You guys can go. Don't worry about me." Zhao Ritian's face darkened as he said coldly. "If that's the case, young Master Zhao, we'll meet again." Chapter 320. Sush. The Great Barren Dragon Sword was like a dragon as it swept across the sky. It turned into a blazing rainbow as it headed towards the direction of the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao stood on the Great Barren Dragon Sword as the wind around him blew. His black hair danced in the wind as a look of anticipation appeared in his eyes. He wondered how the Changsun sect was doing. Was Shui Wei doing well? Whenever he thought of that adorable figure, Ling Xiao would feel a sense of warmth in his heart. Perhaps only Shui Wei would not care if Ling Xiao was a good-for-nothing or a genius. She would stay by his side forever. "Bachelor sage, look." Lung Feng's voice interrupted Ling Xiao's train of thought. Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback as he looked in the direction Lung Feng was pointing at. Behind the great Baron Dragon Sword, a blazing fire chariot was flying towards them at an extremely fast speed, following closely behind the great Baron Dragon Sword. On the fire chariot, Zhao Ritian was dressed in a golden robe. His gaze landed on Ling Xiao as he gritted his teeth. Ling Xiao did not know whether to laugh or cry. He did not expect this guy to be so persistent. However, the fire chariot was emitting an ancient rune aura. It was actually a powerful Dao artifact. Zhao Ritian had too many treasures on him that even Ling Xiao was surprised. This guy was simply a treasure trove. Young master, should we teach him a lesson? A cold glint flashed across Lung Feng's eyes. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, "Don't bother about him. If he wants to follow, then let him follow." The great Baron Dragon Sword was extremely fast. After a few hours, it had crossed the fearsome Beast Mountain range and arrived at a vast land. In the distance, there was a towering mountain that pierced through the clouds. It was emitting an ancient and boundless aura. It was extremely majestic. That was the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao was shocked. They were finally back. The great Baron Dragon Sword quickly stopped at the foot of the Changsun Mountain. The Changsun Mountain was covered by the Changsun God's sealing array. Ling Xiao did not want to rush to the top of the mountain. He wanted to return to the Jin's pavilion to check on Shui Wei first. The eyes of Xia Huang and the others were filled with curiosity. Although they all knew about the longevity sect, other than Master Jiao Mu, no one else had ever been to the longevity sect. Legend had it that this longevity sect was the holy land of martial arts that had dominated the war god continent 10,000 years ago. But there were also people who said that this longevity sect had only inherited some martial arts and was completely different from the longevity sect from 10,000 years ago. Ling Xiao, is this the Changsun sect? Xia Huang asked curiously. The longevity sect looked very ordinary. Although there were some palaces and pavilions on the mountain peak, they did not have the grandeur of the martial Dao Holy Lands. The longevity mountain was shrouded in clouds and mist. It looked calm and peaceful. Towering ancient trees stood in great numbers, verdant and elegant. That's right, this is the longevity sect. Let's go. Ling Xiao nodded and led Xia Huang and the others up the longevity mountain. Qing Qing, Xia Hongxiu, Li Ling, and Lung Feng were all very curious. How did such an ordinary-looking Changsun sect nurture a monster like Ling Xiao? At this moment, Ling Xiao's ears twitched. He heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. His eyes flashed and he quickly walked over. "Ha! Do you admit defeat? As long as you say that Ling Xiao is trash, I'll let you go." In a forest, a young man in a red robe laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. Under his feet was a young man in a black robe. He looked very handsome, but his face was very pale. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. His eyes were filled with anger and humiliation. He struggled to get up, but the genuine qi in his body was scattered by the young man in the red robe. His chest felt heavy and he felt like he was suffocating. The young man in the black robe was Deng Yalin. Behind Deng Yalin was a group of longevity sect disciples. But they did not dare to say anything. Behind the young man in the red robe, there were a few other young men in red robes. Each of them had a powerful aura and their faces were filled with arrogance. Because these young men in red robes were disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect, a martial Dao holy land. I'm not convinced. The saint is not trash. If the saint was here, none of you would be a match for him. Deng Yalin said with difficulty. His eyes were filled with anger. He had broken through to the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm and cultivated the Guardian Demon Fist that Ling Xiao had taught him. His combat strength was very strong. However, the young man in the red robe who was stepping on him was too abnormal. He was also at the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm, but he could easily suppress him. The reason was that the young man in the red robe had already cultivated fist intent. Although Deng Yalin was on the verge of comprehending fist intent, he was still a little short. Who does Ling Xiao think he is? How dare he call himself the saint? If he dares to be here, senior brother Lu doesn't have to do anything. I can suppress him myself. What a small sect. You don't know anything. The young man in the red robe glanced at the young man with the highest cultivation behind him and smiled. Deng Yalan, I'll give you one more chance. Do you admit defeat? As long as you call Ling Xiao trash, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll kill you. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the young man in the red robe. The innate energy under his feet shone brightly and a murderous intent spread towards Deng Yalan. Deng Yalan shuddered. However, he stubbornly looked at the young man in the red robe without saying a word. Very well. Since you're so stubborn, don't blame me for being rude. The young man in the red robe smiled maliciously. The powerful innate energy under his feet exploded and he was about to kill Deng Yalan. Swoosh. At this moment, a cold figure flew across the sky like a black bolt of lightning. In an instant, a palm struck towards the young man in the red robe. Who is it? The young man in the red robe trembled. His eyes were filled with shock and anger. He did not expect that someone would dare to attack him. Boom! A monstrous divine force swept over, and the red-robed young man was instantly sent flying by the palm strike. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and a powerful Xiantian Gang Qi wreaked havoc in his body, instantly destroying all his meridians and crippling his cultivation. A young man in a black robe appeared in the middle of the crowd. He was emitting a cold aura and his eyes were indifferent. No one dared to look him in the eyes and they all lowered their heads. It was Lung Feng. How dare you touch the disciples of the Changsun sect? Do you want to die? Ling Xiao walked over slowly from afar. Although there was a smile on his face, it was a cold smile. His eyes fell on the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect. The saint? The saint is back. It's really the saint. That's great. Pa. These bastards dare to be arrogant. The saint will teach them a lesson. When the disciples of the Changsun sect saw Ling Xiao, they were shocked. Their eyes were filled with joy as they shouted. It's Ling Xiao? Chapter 321. Holy Sun, you're finally back. Deng Yalan struggled to get up from the ground, looking at Ling Xiao with eyes full of excitement. You're not bad, but you're much younger than him. His cultivation is only the same as yours. Don't be discouraged. Ling Xiao smiled and patted Deng Yalan's shoulder. Deng Yalan nodded emotionally and said, Holy Sun, they're all disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect. Let's just forget about it. Deng Yalan was a little worried. He knew Ling Xiao's character. Back then, he dared to challenge Deng Yalan and Deng Tianda when he was only in the channel opening realm. If Ling Xiao was impulsive and taught the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect a lesson, it would be troublesome. After all, the Sun Moon Star sect was the ruler of the 8 Desolation region. The Changsun sect couldn't be compared to them at all. You crippled my junior brother's cultivation and you want to just let it go? Do you really think the Sun Moon Star sect is easy to bully? A cold voice was heard. Among the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect, there was a very burly young man. He had a crew cut and looked very energetic. His skin was crystal clear and gave off a faint glow. His eyes were extremely bright, as if there were flames shooting out. His cultivation had reached the 6th level of the Master Realm, which was the highest among the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect. The red-robed young man was injured by Lung Feng and his cultivation was crippled. Immediately, the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect were furious. The burly young man looked at Ling Xiao with a cold gaze. He gave off an extremely powerful aura that pressed down on Ling Xiao and the others. The expressions of the Changsun sect's disciples changed drastically. Deng Yalan's expression turned serious as he whispered to Ling Xiao, Saint, this person is called Lu Yang. He's a disciple of the Sun God faction. Senior sister Nangong and senior brother Jian were defeated by him. You must be careful. Ling Xiao and Xia Huang didn't reveal their cultivation, so Deng Yalan didn't know Ling Xiao's current cultivation. However, Ling Xiao was only in the spirit transformation realm when he left the Changsun sect. No matter how strong he was now, he was probably only in the Dragon Tiger realm. He definitely couldn't be Lu Yang's opponent. Who do you think you are? Ling Xiao sneered and glanced at Lu Yang. This is my Changsun sect, not your Sun Moon Star sect. He humiliated my Changsun sect's disciple. Sparing his life is already a mercy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as simple as crippling his cultivation. I would have taken his life. Bastard, how dare you disrespect Senior Brother Lu? Senior Lu, kill him. What dogs hit Holy Sun? Does he really think that the longevity sect is still the longevity sect from 10,000 years ago? The faces of the Sun Moon Star sect's disciples changed. They glared at Ling Xiao and scolded him. Lu Yang's gaze also turned cold as he said in a cold voice, "How arrogant! Since that's the case, let me see what qualifications you, the holy son of the longevity sect, have to be so arrogant." A sharp light flashed in Lung Feng's eyes, and he said to Ling Xiao, "Holy Sun, let me do it." "All right. After all, the Sun Moon Star sect and my Chongsun sect have some ties. Let him live." Ling Xiao nodded. With the strength of Lung Feng's bloodline, he could even fight against a level 9 grandmaster. It was enough to deal with Lu Yang. "Let me live? Pa." Lu Yang laughed out of anger. He did not expect Ling Xiao to look down on him. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "Brat, you'll only be courting death if you stick your head out. You better think carefully." Lu Yang looked at Lung Feng with a cold gaze. Although he did not know Ling Feng's cultivation, Lung Feng looked to be in his 20s. In this small Great Desolation ancient country, he would at most be a Dragon Tiger realm expert. He was simply courting death. "Cut the crap. If you don't attack now, you won't have the chance." Lung Feng's gaze was like a blade as he exuded a sharp aura. His battle intent rose. The guy in front of him was a disciple of the Sun Moon Star sect. Lung Feng also wanted to see who was stronger between him and the disciple of the martial arts sanctuary. "Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." Lu Yang's eyes shone brightly as he unleashed his level 6 Grandmaster realm cultivation. He stomped on the ground. Boom! The rocks under his feet shattered. Lu Yang was like an immemorial barbarian elephant as he threw a punch at Lung Feng. That powerful aura swept out, causing the expressions of the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect to change drastically as they revealed worried looks. Lu Yang was a level 6 Grandmaster. No one in the entire Chongsun sect was a match for him. The young man that Ling Xiao brought seemed arrogant, but how could he defeat Lu Yang? He would probably be defeated in the next moment. Only Ling Xiao's expression did not change. He was incomparably indifferent and calm. Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Pure Sun Spiritual Master smiled. They knew Ling Feng's combat strength very well, so they knew the outcome of this battle. Relatively speaking, they were more curious about the Chongsun Mountain. It looked ordinary from the outside, but when they entered the Chongsun Mountain, they realized that the spiritual qi in the Chongsun Mountain was extremely abundant. It had even turned into a thin mist. It was comparable to the blessed enclave of the martial Dao sacred grounds. Li Ling's eyes also flashed as he looked towards the peak of the Longevity Mountain. He could feel a vast and expansive sword will from there. It grew and multiplied endlessly, filling up the heavens and the earth, causing him to feel somewhat agitated. The Chongsun sect was indeed not simple. Seeing Lu Yang's punch, Lung Feng's eyes flashed. Innate qi gushed out of his body as he slashed down with his palm. Clang! Lung Feng's palm contained a domineering saber radiance. When it hit Lu Yang's fist, it was as if it had hit a metal rock. Sparks flew and a violent aura exploded. Both of them took a few steps back at the same time. Level 6 Grandmaster Realm? How is that possible? Lu Yang's eyes were filled with shock. He immediately sensed that Lung Feng's cultivation was at level 6 Grandmaster Realm, the same as him. How could there be such a demonic genius in the small Great Desolation ancient country? At the same time, Lu Yang saw Ling Xiao's calm expression from the corner of his eyes. If Lung Feng's cultivation was so abnormal, how powerful would Ling Xiao be if he could control Lung Feng? An ominous premonition flashed across Lu Yang's heart. Again! Lung Feng's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he exuded a powerful aura. His saber essence filled the air. It was domineering and ancient, with an invincible aura that could split the heaven and earth. Clang! Lung Feng raised his arm and his palm radiated a blazing radiance. It was as if a snow-white divine saber had formed on his arm. He slashed across the sky at lightning speed. This was the 10th move of the Azura Saber. Lung Feng had perfected the Azura Saber skill. Coupled with his heavenly saber bloodline, he was able to unleash a power that even Ling Xiao was shocked by. Lu Yang's expression changed as he felt a strong sense of threat. Facing Lung Feng's saber light, he let out a loud roar. Instantly, a blazing heat wave swept out from his body, as if a blazing sun was slowly rising. 9 Sun Palm. Chapter 322. Is that the ultimate Earth-class martial skill, 9 Sun Palm? Senior brother Lu is going to win. The Sun Moon Star Sect's disciple's eyes were filled with excitement as he hurriedly said. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as well. He knew about the 9 Suns Palm martial art. It was known for its unparalleled ferocity and contained a divine power of extreme yang. If it was unleashed at full power, it was even stronger than the Vajra-subduing demon fist. However, although the 9 Sun Palm was powerful, Lu Yang had not mastered it to the complete realm and he was still lacking compared to Lung Feng. Rumble. The fist radiance and the saber radiance collided and the space rumbled. Boundless saber radiance swept out in all directions. The 9 dazzling suns in the sky destroyed all the saber radiance and pressed down on Lung Feng. I knew it. Pa. Senior brother Lu is going to win. A Sun Moon Star Sect's disciple exclaimed. When they sensed Lung Feng's cultivation at the 6th level of the Grand Master realm, they were shocked and jealous. Lung Feng was younger than many of them, but his cultivation was stronger than theirs. It was a big blow to these disciples of the Holy Land who were usually high and mighty. Now that they saw that Lung Feng was about to be defeated, an indescribable sense of pleasure rose in their hearts. However, Lung Feng's expression did not change. He was still cold and indifferent. Rumble. The shattered saber radiance in the sky emitted a destructive aura. Lung Feng's saber essence was pure and powerful and it resonated with the destructive aura in the sky. A black saber radiance appeared above Lung Feng's head. The sharp aura sent chills down one's spine. Destruction slash. As Lung Feng's cold voice resounded, the saber radiance above his head moved instantly. Swoosh. It was as though a heavenly river had pierced through the sky. It was snow-white and it was extremely fast. In an instant, it shattered the 9 Sun Palm that was formed by the 9 Sun Palm. The saber radiance vibrated and emitted a mysterious glow in the sky. It was like a white line that split the sky and broke through the darkness as it slashed down on Lu Yang. What? Lu Yang's expression changed drastically as he felt a fatal danger looming over him. His hair stood on end and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Lung Feng's saber had clearly been shattered by his 9 Sun Great Palm, but what was this saber light that had appeared in an instant? Lu Yang had no time to think. A dark golden light flashed in his hand as he punched out. Crack! Lung Feng's saber slashed apart Lu Yang's fist. His gaze was like steel as he slashed down on Lu Yang's fist. Instantly, resplendent runes flickered as blood splattered everywhere. Lu Yang looked as if he had been struck by lightning. His crimson robe was torn to shreds, and his face was extremely pale. He was sent dozens of meters away by Lung Feng's blade. His eyes were filled with fear. His palm was dripping with blood, and a sharp saber will permeated the air. Furthermore, the glove on his hand had dimmed, indicating that he had been severely injured. This fist glove was Lu Yang's only high-grade prized artifact. For it to suffer such heavy damage caused Lu Yang's heart to ache. At the same time, he rejoiced in his heart. If it weren't for the glove on his hand would have been chopped off by Lung Feng's saber. How could there be such a terrifying saber technique in this world? Encompassing the heaven and earth, destroying the heavens. His saber intent was unparalleled, and he was invincible. The scene was dead silent. This was especially so for the Sun Moon Star Sect disciples. They were originally cheering, but at that moment, they felt as if their necks were being strangled. Their eyes were wide open, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Senior brother Lu was defeated? Defeated by an unknown young man. This made them feel as if they were in a dream. As for the Changsun sect disciples, after a short moment of shock, they began to cheer. Their eyes were filled with admiration as they looked at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's subordinate was already so powerful. How could their saint be weak? He would only be stronger. Now, I want to ask you one question. Are you convinced? Ling Xiao looked at Lu Yang, who was in disbelief. His expression was indifferent as he returned the question that they had asked Deng Yalan. Lu Yang's face revealed a trace of anger. However, his eyes were filled with fear as he looked at Lung Feng. Ling Xiao, what's there to be arrogant about? If you have the ability, fight me yourself. What's the point of having someone else do it for you? Lu Yang said loudly, putting up a strong front. Are you sure you want to fight me? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and there was a trace of radiance in them. Xia Huang and the rest had a strange look on their faces. Did water enter Lu Yang's brain? He couldn't even defeat Lung Feng, and he wanted to fight Ling Xiao? However, Ling Xiao's appearance was indeed very deceiving. His clothes were whiter than snow, and he had a slender figure. Although he was handsome, he didn't look like a 15 or 16-year-old youth. His smile was bright, and he didn't look like a powerful genius. Of course, if you fight me personally, I'll take it as my loss if I can't defeat you in 3 moves. Lu Yang's heart trembled when Ling Xiao looked at him. It was as if he was being stared at by a powerful beast. However, he wasn't willing to lose face like this, so he mustered up his courage and said, even if this 15 or 16-year-old youth was strong, how strong could he be? Rumble. At this moment, a blazing flame war chariot came from afar, giving off an ancient and powerful aura. Zhao Ritian stood on the blazing flame war chariot, his golden robe flapping in the wind. He stood with his hands behind his back, looking arrogant. Senior brother Zhao, why are you here? Lu Yang and the others' eyes flashed, and they were instantly overjoyed as they hurriedly shouted. Zhao Ritian kept the blazing flame war chariot in his storage treasure, then jumped down from the sky and landed beside Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, what will it take for you to return the 9 heavens spirit dissolving herb to me? Zhao Ritian ignored Lu Yang and the rest. He walked up to Ling Xiao and tried his best to squeeze out a smile. Lu Yang and the other Sun Moon Star sect disciples were stunned. What's going on? How did Zhao Ritian get together with Ling Xiao? Senior brother Zhao, do you know Ling Xiao? He crippled Zhao Hai's cultivation and spoke rudely to our Sun Moon Star sect. Senior brother Zhao, please help us and let me teach this kid a lesson. Lu Yang cupped his hands and said respectfully to Zhao Ritian. Crippled Zhao Hai? He's a bastard to begin with. I'm not surprised at all. However, are you sure you want to fight him? Zhao Ritian glanced at the red-robed youth whose cultivation was crippled and looked at Lu Yang in surprise. I want to have a fair fight with him. Senior brother Zhao, is there a problem? Lu Yang was confused by Zhao Ritian's stare. Zhao Ritian glared at Lu Yang and said, I say, kid, are you out of your mind? Didn't senior sister Yueshan tell you? Even Shi Tianluo from the Myriad Beasts sect was defeated by Ling Xiao. Do you think you're stronger than Shi Tianluo? What? Shi Tianluo really lost to Ling Xiao? Chapter 323. Shi Tianluo was ranked 7th among the 10,000 Beasts' 7 disciples, but his potential was in the top 3. This was because he had the bloodline of the heavenly snake, and it was extremely pure. Therefore, he was very famous in the few martial arts sanctuaries. There were rumors that Ling Xiao had defeated Shi Tianluo when he was only in the Dragon Tiger realm. However, to Lu Yang and the rest, it was simply nonsense. Even the Sun God and Moon God, whom they worshipped, did not dare to say that they had defeated Shi Tianluo, who was in the Dragon Tiger realm. Who was Ling Xiao? However, now that Zhao Ritian said this, could it be that Ling Xiao had really defeated Shi Tianluo? Thinking of this, Lu Yang shuddered. No matter how arrogant he was, he would not dare to say that he could defeat Shi Tianluo. If what Zhao Ritian said was true, then he was really courting death. No wonder the group of people behind Ling Xiao looked at him as if he was an idiot. It turned out that he was really an idiot. Thinking of this, Lu Yang was embarrassed and angry. His face turned red, and he wanted to find a hole to hide in. When Deng Yalan heard this, he was also shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief and surprise. It turned out that the rumor that Ling Xiao had defeated Shi Tianluo, who was in the Dragon Tiger realm, was true. How strong was Ling Xiao now? Deng Yalan and the other disciples of the Changsun sect looked at Ling Xiao with admiration. "Alright, Deng Yalan, bring me to the sect leader of the Changsun sect." Ling Xiao smiled faintly and looked at Deng Yalan. Ling Xiao planned to let Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Chunyang Jinren meet Nangong Xian. After all, the three of them were considered to be in the noble realm. Ling Xiao would leave the Eight Desolates region sooner or later. When the time came, with the three of them looking after the Changsun sect, Ling Xiao could leave with peace of mind. Deng Yalan's expression changed. He stammered, "Saint, the sect leader is not in the Changsun sect." "What happened?" Ling Xiao's face darkened. From Deng Yalan's expression, he could tell that something had happened that he was unaware of. Deng Yalan glanced at Lu Yang and the others. He gritted his teeth and said, "Holy Sun, the sect leader is in the back mountain forbidden area. The sun god of the Sun Moon sect wants to enter the back mountain forbidden area. The sect leader has no choice but to make a bet with the sun god. As long as the sun god can break the formation of the back mountain forbidden area, he will be allowed to enter and cultivate." "What?" A sharp glint appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes as a powerful and cold aura emanated from his body. This caused Deng Yalan and the others to tremble as they revealed looks of reverence. "Very good. Does the Sun Moon Star sect really think that our longevity gate can be trampled on by others? Today, I want to see what kind of person this so-called sun god is. Deng Yalan, lead the way." Ling Zhao's gaze was very cold, and there was a suppressed anger in his heart. The path understanding tree in the back mountain forbidden area was the #1 spiritual root in the world. It was also the root of the longevity gate's rise. He could not afford to lose it. When Ling Xiao left, he used the longevity god's sealing array to seal off the back mountain forbidden area. Ordinary people could not enter at all. Even if an expert of the heaven realm entered rashly, he would definitely die. However, at that time, Ling Xiao was only in the spirit transformation realm. The array that he set up was not at its peak, so he could not be sure that it could stop the sun god. After all, the sun god was rumored to be the #1 genius of the Sun Moon Star sect. He was peerless and unparalleled in the entire Eight Desolates region. He and the moon god were known as the Sun Moon Prides. The sun god must be an expert of the heaven realm. If Ling Zhao's guess was correct, the sun god should be cultivating the Sun True technique of the Sun Moon Star sect, a heaven-level medium martial skill. If the Sun Moon Star sect discovered the existence of the Path Understanding Tree, the consequences would be unimaginable. Deng Yalan's eyes revealed a trace of excitement as he hurriedly led Ling Xiao to the back mountain forbidden area. "My big brother is in the longevity sect? Ling Xiao, I'm telling you, you'd better hurry up and return the 9 heaven spirit dissipation herb to me. Otherwise, my big brother will teach you a lesson." Zhao Ritian hurriedly followed behind, mumbling to Ling Xiao as they walked. "The sun god is your big brother? You two brothers' names are really strange. However, don't worry, if your big brother dares to mess around, even if he doesn't find trouble with me, I won't let him off." Ling Zhao's lips curled into a cold smile as his eyes blazed like lightning, containing a hint of coldness. "You're definitely not my big brother's match, I promise. Although I don't like my big brother, he has already broken through to the heaven realm. He has also cultivated the Sun True technique to the greater mastery realm. Once the Sun True technique is fully cultivated, he can cultivate the Sun Moon Star scripture of the Sun Moon Star sect. At that time, he will inherit the position of the sect master. He is many times stronger than Shi Tianluo," Zhao Ritian said slowly. There was a strange look in his eyes. "The Sun Moon Star scripture?" Ling Xiao smiled faintly as the corner of his lips curled into a cold arc. The Sun Moon Star scripture was passed down to Shengguan Ming by Ling Xiao. How could he not know about such a supreme martial art? However, the Sun Moon Star sect had the Sun God, Moon God, and Star God bloodlines. It was rumored that the Star God bloodline had long been lost, and only the Sun God and Moon God bloodlines were left. The true star scripture probably no longer existed. Without the true star scripture of the Sun Moon Star scripture, it would at most be a heaven upper grade martial art. Ling Xiao wanted to see if the current sect master of the Sun Moon Star sect still remembered the agreement back then. Back Mountain Forbidden Area. Nangong Xian and the Great Elder sat cross-legged in the Back Mountain Forbidden Area. In front of them was a bright and transparent enchantment that covered the entire valley. Rumble. The enchantment was dazzling and had mysterious runes flowing around it, giving off an ancient and mysterious aura. However, at this moment, there was a violent fluctuation, as if someone was attacking the enchantment from the outside, causing heaven and earth to rumble. Sectmaster, although the Holy Sun's enchantment is strong, I'm afraid it won't be able to withstand the Sun God's attack. If he really breaks the enchantment, will we really let him enter the Back Mountain Forbidden Area? The Great Elder's hair and beard were all white, and his white robe was spotless. He looked like an immortal, but at this moment, there was a look of worry in his old eyes. Nangong Xian was dressed in green, and his face was as sharp as a knife. He was extraordinarily handsome, and his bright eyes were shining as if they could contain heaven and earth. He was very mysterious. We can't lose the Path Understanding Tree. The reason why I proposed this bet was to buy time. However, if the Moon God really breaks the enchantment, I won't let him touch the Path Understanding Tree even if I have to risk my life. Nangong Xian's aura was strong, and he was already at level 9 of the Grandmaster realm. In less than a year, he had broken through from level 1 to level 9 of the Grandmaster realm. It was shocking. However, Nangong Xian had inherited the true meaning of the Longevity Supreme Scripture and had been cultivating under the Path Understanding Tree. In addition to his years of accumulation, his cultivation speed could be said to be rapid. Chapter 324. After experiencing it firsthand, they were even more aware of the terror of the Tree of Path Understanding. Merely cultivating under the Tree of Path Understanding every day had such terrifying effects. Once the Tree of Path Understanding bears fruits, what kind of heaven-defying effects would there be? Therefore, the Path Understanding Tree was the foundation of the Changsun sect. It was also given to them by Ling Xiao before he left. They could not afford to lose it. That's the only way. Sect leader, you've cultivated the Longevity Supreme Scripture. Can you fight the Sun God? The first elder asked with anticipation. Now that Nangong Xian was unfathomable, the first elder could not even take one move from him. Therefore, he was looking forward to seeing how strong Nangong Xian was now. I can fight him, but it's hard to say who will win. Nangong Xian's eyes glinted. But the Sun God is not the most important. The most important thing is the Sun Moon Star sect. This time, a Noble Realm Supreme Elder came. Peng Zihao is already hard to deal with. When the Longevity Secret Land opens, I'm afraid the sect leader of the Sun Moon Star sect will come. The Great Elder sighed and said, that's right. The Immortals' secret territory used to be our Changsheng sect's treasure trove. But now, it's become a treasure trove for the 8 Desolates region. We can only blame ourselves for not being able to protect our ancestors' inheritance. I wonder if the saint can make it back in time. Nangong Xian smiled and said, he will definitely return. The Moon Goddess has already said that even Sky Snake Descent was defeated by Ling Xiao. In time, I believe that the entire 8 Desolates region will crawl under his feet. When that time comes, it will be the time for the Changsun sect to rise. He has a magical power that can create miracles and turn the impossible into the possible. The first elder stroked his beard and agreed. Rumble. Outside the back mountain, the rumbling sounds became louder and louder. The enchantment shook violently. Countless runes on it exploded, leaving only a thin layer. Outside the back mountain, one could vaguely see a figure in the air, exuding a terrifying aura. He was attacking the enchantment. There seemed to be thunder exploding in the sky. The light in the void was scorching, and a sea of fire rose. A sun was floating in it, and it crashed into the barrier. Additionally, it would appear that the human silhouette outside the barrier was capable of identifying the nodes of the Grand Longevity God Seal Array. Every attack from the human silhouette was aimed at the weakest points of the barrier, causing it to grow weaker and weaker. Countless runes began bursting apart and the barrier gradually grew dim. Rumble. With a final loud bang, The originally powerful barrier was completely shattered. Outside the barrier, a powerful figure slowly walked through the air, accompanied by an indifferent and calm voice. Sect leader Nangong, I'm glad I didn't let you down. Can you show me the true appearance of the treasures in this forbidden area? A young figure soared through the sky. Every step he took caused ripples to appear in the void. Radiance flowed all over his body as he stood in the void like a godly king, exuding a powerful and invincible aura. He wore a set of golden battle armor. His figure was slender and handsome. Faint red clouds lingered around his body, and a mysterious sea of fire appeared behind him as if it wanted to burn the sky. Especially his eyes, they were incomparably deep. It was as if the sun had just been born, and the scene of chaos filled the air. It encompassed the heaven and earth, mysterious and unfathomable. He stood there, exuding an aura as vast as the sea. It was as if the entire heaven and earth were trembling under his feet. It made people want to kneel down. He was the sun god, the great sun god. He looked at Nangong Xian. His voice was very calm, and his gaze was indifferent. One look and one could tell that he was a determined and confident person. My apologies, nephew sun god. The back mountain is the forbidden area of the Changsun sect. Those who are not disciples of the Changsun sect are not allowed to enter. Please leave. Nangong Xian and the great elder stood up. Their green robes fluttered in the wind, and a faint light surged in their eyes as they looked at the sun god. Oh, does that mean sect master Nangong is not going to keep the agreement? The sun god's gaze was very calm. He was not angry at all. Nangong Xian looked at the sun god and smiled faintly. Nephew sun god, I didn't promise you that I would let you see any treasures if you broke the array. I only said that if you broke the array, you could enter the back mountain. Now that you've entered, please leave. Nangong Xian's voice was very firm. A vast and mysterious aura surged around him, and an endless sword intent was born from it. It was extremely pure. Sect Master Nangong, you're in the wrong. I just want to experience it. Could it be that Sect Master Nangong can't even satisfy this request? The sun god's gaze flickered as he spoke emotionlessly. I'm sorry, but I can't. Nangong Xian said emotionlessly. The sun god's eyes shone with a blazing light. If that's the case, then I'll have to experience Sect Master Nangong's ultimate technique. I'm sure that if I defeat Sect Master Nangong, no one in the Changsun sect will dare to stop me? The sun god's voice was very calm, but it was filled with an oppressive dominance. You can try. Nangong Xian's eyes flashed with sword radiance as he stared at the sun god without backing down. Boom! A powerful aura surged from the sun god's body. An endless amount of heat waves filled the air. Behind the sun god, there seemed to be a sea of fire burning the sky. A mysterious sun slowly rose, causing the space to tremble. Nangong Xian's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. Faint sword will surged around him. Countless tiny sword rays appeared in the air, mysterious and unfathomable. They vaguely converged into a sword domain and began to search. It was like an invisible battle. The entire back mountain was enveloped in an oppressive atmosphere. The battle between the sun god and Nangong Xian was about to start. This is the Changsun sect's forbidden ground. Who do you think you are? How dare you barge into the Changsun sect's forbidden ground? Do you want to die? A cold and emotionless voice resounded in the air. From afar, Ling Xiao and the others walked over and appeared outside the back mountain. Ling Xiao's robe was whiter than snow. He was tall and slender, and he exuded an aura that seemed to be able to split the heavens. He stood there and stared at the sun god in the air. Who are you? The sun god's expression was cold. He looked at Ling Xiao emotionlessly. The Changsun sect's holy son, Ling Xiao. Sun god, get the hell out here. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and stomped his foot. The ground rumbled and a dragon's roar filled the air. In the air, a mysterious aura intertwined. A bolt of heavenly purple lightning that exuded an aura that could destroy everything smashed towards the sun god. Chapter 325. The Immortality God's sealing array was activated. With Ling Zhao's current cultivation level, the power of the Immortality God Sealing Array was 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. The murderous intent that filled the void and the purple heavenly thunder that shook the heavens made the sun god's expression turn serious. Boom! Facing the purple heavenly thunder, the sun god's body suddenly emitted a vast aura. He slapped out with his palm and instantly, a blazing light swept out. One could vaguely see a sun rising and colliding with the purple heavenly thunder. Kacha! The divine light exploded and the void rumbled. The majestic heavenly might made Nangong Xian, the great elder, and even Xia Huang reveal a trace of shock in their eyes. This was especially so for Xia Huang. He had once witnessed the terrifying scene of Ling Xiao activating the power of the dragon vein. And now, this great longevity god sealing array was actually stronger than Ling Xiao activating the power of the dragon vein. Boom! The sun exploded and the purple lightning spread out. A terrifying destructive force exploded, forcing the sun god to retreat from the forbidden area. The Immortality God Sealing Array? I didn't expect the Immortality sect to have such an array. With your cultivation level, you can actually use the purple heavenly thunder. Looks like I've underestimated you. The sun god's gaze fell on Ling Xiao and there was a trace of surprise in his voice. Since you recognize the Immortality God Sealing Array, you should know the relationship between the Sun-Moon-Star sect and the Immortality sect. You shouldn't be so rude. Ling Xiao stepped into the void, step by step. Golden lotuses flashed under his feet. His robe was whiter than snow and there was a faint purple heavenly thunder surging around him. He looked directly at the sun god with a sharp gaze. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had arrived in time. It looked like the sun god hadn't entered the forbidden area and probably didn't know about the path understanding tree. Otherwise, with the relationship between the Sun-Moon-Star sect and the Immortality sect, the sun god might have recognized the origin of the path understanding tree. If that happened, it would be troublesome. The path understanding tree was known as the #1 spiritual root in the world, and the path understanding fruit it bore could even be called a top-notch sacred medicine. It was the foundation of the holy land of the martial way. It could be said that as long as the path understanding tree existed, even an unrated sect would be able to grow into a holy land of the martial way with enough time. If the news were to leak out, those martial way holy lands and supremes wouldn't be able to sit still. There would definitely be a bloody battle then. With the Immortality sect's current strength, the path understanding tree. Origin. The so-called origin, after such a long time, has long dissipated like smoke. Moreover, the current Changsun sect is not qualified to talk about the so-called origin. The sun god's eyes were indifferent, and his voice was emotionless. Ling Xiao sneered heavenly thunder. 10,000 years ago, the sect leader of the Sun-Moon-Star sect was called Shang Guanming. He was a demonic Tao Titan at that time. In the end, he was subdued by the sky-devouring Supreme and was bestowed with the Sun-Moon-Star scripture. The ancestral teachings of the Sun-Moon-Star sect were to be forever loyal to the Longevity sect's holy sun. They had to ensure that the Longevity sect's bloodline would never be severed. Am I right? The Sun-Moon-Star sect's disciples, Nangong Xian, and the Great Elder were stunned. Although they knew that the Sun-Moon-Star sect and the Immortality sect had a relationship, they didn't expect it to be like this. Didn't that mean that the Sun-Moon-Star sect was originally under the Immortality sect? Thinking of this, the disciples of the Sun-Moon-Star sect revealed a look of disbelief. On the other hand, the disciples of the Longevity sect were a little excited. What a joke! Our Sun-Moon-Star sect is a righteous sect. How could sect Master Shangguan be a demon way person? Our Sun-Moon-Star sect is the martial way holy land of the 8 Desolates region. How could we listen to your Immortality sect? The sun god said calmly. His eyes were cold. Senior brother's sun god is right. Ling Xiao must be out of his mind. Who does the Immortality sect think they are? How could we listen to them? That's right. He offended senior brother's sun god. He's dead meat. Senior brother's sun god, kill this brat. Lu Yang and the other Sun-Moon-Star sect's disciples looked at Ling Xiao coldly. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. It's no use denying it. The sect's ancestral teachings are engraved on the steel of sun and moon. It's okay if others don't know about it. But as the sun god of this generation, you should know about it, right? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His lips curled into a mocking smile. You know about the steel of sun and moon. The sun god's eyes flashed as if he wanted to see through Ling Xiao's heart. However, Ling Xiao's expression didn't change. He stood in the air and looked at the sun god. The sun god was very unhappy. He was a peerless genius of the 8 Desolation region, one of the top experts of the younger generation. His cultivation had long reached the celestial realm, but Ling Xiao was only at the first level of the supreme power realm. If it weren't for the immortality of God's sealing array, the sun god would have killed Ling Xiao with one slap. How could he be so arrogant? However, Ling Xiao's words shocked the sun god. The steel of sun and moon was the most mysterious existence in the sun-moon star sect. Only the sect leader, supreme elder, and a few others knew about it. It was said that it contained the inheritance left behind by the ancestors of the sun-moon star sect. Moreover, the steel did record the relationship between the sun-moon star sect and the immortality sect. The sun god was silent. Seeing the sun god's silence, the disciples of the sun-moon star sect were stunned. What was the steel of sun and moon? Could it be that Ling Xiao was right? Ling Xiao, you have to know that the immortality sect is no longer the immortality sect of 10,000 years ago. The sun-moon star sect is no longer the sun-moon star sect of 10,000 years ago. In this world, strength is everything. Do you think that you can control the immortality god's sealing array? The sun god looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. A powerful aura spread out from his body. It was like the might of the heavens. The scorching light was dazzling, making him look like a sun god. You're right. In this world, strength is everything. However, the immortality sect looked down on the 8 Desolation region 10,000 years ago. It's possible that they can restore their glory after 10,000 years. Does the sun-moon star sect want to go against the teachings of your ancestors? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had a peerless demeanor that made people admire him. Restore our glory? With just you guys? The sun god looked at Ling Xiao, Nangong Xian, First Elder, and the others with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Let's talk about it after you leave the 8 Desolation region. The teachings of the ancestors of the sun-moon star sect are followed by everyone. However, we are following the saint of the immortality sect 10,000 years ago, not you. The aura of the sun god spread out and pressed towards Ling Xiao as if he was going to suppress him. Chapter 326. Is that so? When I pull out the steel of sun and moon, it will be the time for the sun and moon star sect to submit to me. Ling Xiao said indifferently. There was an unparalleled sharpness around him that broke the sun god's aura. It was like a divine light that could split the heavens and earth. It was unstoppable. When you can pull out the steel of sun and moon, then you can talk big. The sun god's eyes flashed with a cold light, and a faint killing intent filled the air. He was shocked. The steel of sun and moon was the most precious treasure of the sun and moon star sect. It was said that it was left behind by the sky-devouring Supreme. Only the holy son of the Changsun sect could activate it. This was a secret. How could Ling Xiao know about it? However, the sun god didn't think that Ling Xiao could pull out the steel of sun and moon. After all, the Changsun sect was no longer as strong as it used to be. The Changsun sect's inheritance had been cut off. No matter how talented Ling Xiao was, he couldn't pull out the steel of sun and moon. Ling Xiao and the sun god's eyes were like lightning as they clashed in the void. Sparks flew in all directions and a powerful aura spread out. Boom! The aura from the two of them was like a giant wave that swept across all directions. They clashed in the void. The aura from the sun god was like the sun true fire. It was vast and majestic. It was extremely aggressive and swept across all directions. Ling Xiao was like a peerless divine sword that emitted unparalleled sword radiance. It was as if he was going to break everything. He clashed with the sun god and was not at a disadvantage. The aura from the two of them surged. The disciples below turned pale and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao can actually compete with senior brother sun god. How is this possible? A Sun Moon Star Sect's disciple had a look of disbelief in his eyes. It's the power of the array. Ling Xiao is no match for senior brother sun god with his own strength. Lu Yang's eyes flashed as he saw the purple lightning surging around Ling Xiao. The sun god is also a bloodline martial artist. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Although the sun god's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the celestial realm, Ling Xiao felt that he was as unfathomable as the pure Yang spiritual master and Ling Juechen. Ling Xiao felt that the sun god's bloodline had an extremely strong Yang energy. It should have a Yang attribute bloodline power. With the sun god's terrifying cultivation, the true sun technique, and all sorts of powerful martial arts, if Ling Xiao wanted to defeat him, he would have to pay a heavy price even if he took out the devouring sky sword. The sun god was indeed very strong. Ling Xiao, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have the god's sealing longevity array. The Sun Moon Star Sect will not tolerate such humiliation. The sun god took a step forward in the sky and the earth rumbled. A gigantic sun rose behind him, emitting a blinding light. The sun god wore golden armor and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were like lightning and there was a golden glow above his head. He walked like a dragon and a tiger, like a sun god. An unparalleled aura pressed down on Ling Xiao, and a strong fighting spirit began to rise. You're the arrogant one, not me. My Changsun sect won't allow you to humiliate us either. Sun god, do you dare to fight? Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with the desire to fight. His blood was boiling. The sun god was an extremely powerful opponent. Even Ling Xiao felt threatened by him. However, this kind of opponent not only did not make Ling Xiao feel afraid, but it also made him feel a strong fighting spirit. The fight between geniuses began in the 8 Desolates region. Fight! The sun god only spat out one word, but it was like a clap of thunder. As the sun god took another step, the sky was filled with scorching light. It was like a sun was slowly pressing down on the people in front of it. Even Nangong Xian's expression changed when he felt the sun god's aura. Even though he had cultivated the longevity supreme scripture, he still felt that he was no match for the sun god. If Ling Xiao hadn't come, he wouldn't have been able to stop the sun god from entering the back mountain. Ha! The Sun Moon Star Sect and the Changsun Sect are family. Why do you two have to fight? It's just hurting your relationship. At that moment, an old laughter rang out in the sky. A white-haired elder in a red robe appeared in the sky. He looked dignified and elegant, and his eyes were filled with wisdom. He looked at the sun god and Ling Xiao and waved his hand. Suddenly, a vast force of heaven and earth spread out, separating Ling Xiao and the sun god. This is the power of the noble plane? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the old man in red. He could feel the old man's terrifying cultivation. He was a true noble plane cultivator. Not only did he control the will of heaven and earth, but he also condensed the martial way primordial spirit. Zhou Tian was one, and he was a noble plane cultivator. This is the grand elder of the Sun Moon Star Sect, Peng Zihao. His cultivation is unfathomable, and he's already a noble plane cultivator. You must be careful. Nangong Xian whispered to Ling Xiao. Peng Zihao's gaze landed on Ling Xiao with a hint of surprise and admiration. He smiled and said, You are Ling Xiao? I heard that you defeated Shi Tianluo when you were in the Dragon Tiger realm. You're indeed a young hero. If you're willing, I can make you a true disciple of the Sun Moon Star Sect. The disciples of the Sun Moon Star Sect were stunned. The Grand Elder wanted to make Ling Xiao a true disciple of the Sun Moon Star Sect. This was the first time they had received such treatment. Immediately, everyone looked at Ling Xiao with envy. Nangong Xian and the Grand Elder looked terrible. Peng Zihao was trying to poach Ling Xiao in front of them. He was too rude. However, Peng Zihao was a noble plane cultivator. No matter how unhappy they were, they didn't dare to say anything. Ling Xiao looked at Peng Zihao and smiled faintly. Thank you for your kindness, Grand Elder. I'm doing well in the Changsun sect. I believe that the Changsun sect will surpass the Sun Moon Star sect in the future. Peng Zihao smiled and said, It's good for young people to be aggressive. However, you should act according to your ability. Since you're not willing, I won't force you. Sun God, why did you enter the forbidden area of the Changsan sect? Peng Zihao looked at the Sun God and asked slowly. Ling Xiao looked at Peng Zihao's serious face and felt disgusted. Peng Zihao must have known that the Sun God had attacked the boundary of the forbidden area. He just jumped out when he saw that the situation couldn't be resolved. Otherwise, Peng Zihao wouldn't have cared about the Sun God's actions. Grand Elder, I feel that there's a treasure in the forbidden area that has a lot to do with the Sun Moon Star sect. The Sun God said faintly. Peng Zihao's eyes flashed. What treasure? Chapter 327. Sect Leader Nangong, what treasures do you have in the back mountain? Can you let us take a look? Peng Zihao smiled and looked at Nangong Xian. Nangong Xian smiled bitterly and said, I'm sorry, Elder Peng. The back mountain was left behind by the sky-devouring Supreme. Other than the sect leader and the Holy Sun, no one else is allowed to enter. I can't break the rules. Peng Zihao smiled and said, I see. If that's the case, then forget it. However, the immortal secret territory is about to open. Our sects are on the same side. If sect leader Nangong has any detailed information, please let us know immediately. I thank you. Nangong Xian smiled and said, Elder Peng, you're welcome. I will. Alright, if that's the case, Sun God, let's go. Peng Zihao smiled and nodded as he looked at the Sun God. Seeing that Peng Zihao did not pursue the matter, the Sun God did not say anything. Before he left, he looked at Ling Xiao and said, Stay away from the Moon God. Compared to her, you're like a firefly to the moon. You're from two different worlds. I hope you don't embarrass yourself. I don't think you need to worry about who I'm close to. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said nonchalantly, Take care of yourself. The Sun God said indifferently. There was a hint of killing intent in his eyes as he turned and left the back mountain. Zhao Ritian, who was standing behind Ling Xiao, was dumbfounded. He had wanted the Sun God to help him take down Ling Xiao and steal the 9 Heavens spiritual herb. However, he did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to fight the Sun God head-on. Zhao Ritian was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell to the ground. He had forgotten to complain to the Sun God. Now that he saw the Sun God and the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect leaving, he quickly followed after them. Seeing that Peng Zihao and the Sun God had left, Nangong Xian and the First Elder heaved a sigh of relief. Ling Xiao, you're finally back. I didn't expect your cultivation to have increased so much. You're about to surpass us old men. Nangong Xian and the Great Elder looked at Ling Xiao with shock and emotion in their eyes. They had heard that Ling Xiao had defeated Shi Tianluo, but they couldn't believe it. Now that they saw with their own eyes that Ling Xiao's cultivation had reached LV1 of the Grandmaster realm, and that he could use the power of the Longevity God's sealing array to fight against the Sun God, they felt like they were in a dream. Nangong Xian and the First Elder realized that Ling Xiao had grown at a terrifying speed during his trip to the Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom. Sect Leader, Great Elder, you flatter me. Ling Xiao smiled as he looked at Xia Huang and the others and said, Let me introduce you. This is the Great Wilderness's monarch, Xia Huang. This is the Great Wilderness's imperial preceptor, Ling Juechen. This is the Spiritual Herbs Pavilion's master, Spiritual Herbs Pavilion, Spiritual Herbs Pavilion. Nangong Xian and the First Elder were both shocked. Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Chunyang Zhenren were all half a step away from the noble plane. In the past, they wouldn't even have dared to imagine that they would come to the Changsan sect. What surprised them was that Sky Sword Li Ling was actually persuaded by Ling Xiao to join the Changsan sect and become the elder protector of the Changsan sect. This was the first celestial realm elite in the Changsan sect, so they naturally wouldn't disagree. After exchanging some pleasantries, Nangong Xian asked the Longevity sect's disciples to bring Xia Huang and the rest to the courtyard to rest. On the other hand, Ling Xiao, Nangong Xian, and the Great Elder went to the forbidden area at the back of the mountain. Inside the valley, white mist was dense, and propitious vapors were rising. The white mist was made up of spirit energy that was so dense that it had materialized and contained an incomparably pure energy. Hundreds of flowers were blooming in the valley. There were all kinds of exotic flowers and herbs, and some of them even had medicinal effects that were decades or even centuries old. The spiritual herbs in the valley were all planted by the great elder, because he realized that the growth rate of the spiritual herbs in the valley was 10 times or even 100 times that of the outside world. Because of the tree of path understanding, everything in the valley was different. There was a mysterious fluctuation that was like a mysterious mark that was telling the truth of heaven and earth. Ling Xiao saw that in the center of the valley, the tree of path understanding was more than 3 meters tall. Its branches and leaves were luxuriant, and its entire body emitted a sparkling luster. It was as green as jade, and there were mysterious patterns on its leaves. One look at it and one would fall into a state of enlightenment. Strands of red light lingered around it, and the branches of the tree of path understanding drooped down slightly. They were like divine chains that pierced into the unknown void and were extracting endless energy. This was another magical effect of the tree of path understanding. It could insert its branches into layers of the void and extract endless energy from time and space to nourish itself. Standing under the tree of path understanding, it was as if all the distracting thoughts had disappeared. One's entire body was clean, as if all the dust had been cleansed. One's Tao heart also became clear. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and felt comfortable all over. All the pores on his body opened up, and his entire body relaxed. I didn't expect the tree of path understanding to grow so quickly. It seems like the new life after the destruction has caused some mysterious changes to the tree of path understanding. Ling Xiao looked at the tree of path understanding in front of him, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Ling Xiao, you're right. This tree of path understanding is indeed the first spiritual root. It has the miraculous effect of allowing one to enter a state of enlightenment at any time. Today, Qingge, Jian Wuk, Zhuozhen, and the rest have all improved tremendously because of the tree of path understanding. They're about to break through to the master realm. Nangong Xian's face also revealed a hint of emotion. The longer he cultivated under the tree of path understanding, the more he understood the meaning of the first spiritual root. This tree of path understanding was the foundation of the Changsun sect's rise, and it could not be lost. The essence of the tree of path understanding was the path understanding fruit. It was the top sacred medicine of heaven and earth, and it stole the fortune of heaven and earth. The tree of path understanding that did not bear fruit was already so miraculous. What kind of heaven-defying effect would the path understanding fruit bear? Nangong Xian and the first elder were looking forward to it. Therefore, we must strictly control the people who enter the forbidden area of the back mountain. They must be absolutely loyal to the sect, and only those who have made great contributions can enter to cultivate. This must not be known to the other martial arts sanctuaries. The first elder's eyes revealed a hint of seriousness. Peng Zihao alone was enough to make the entire Changsun sect feel like they were facing a great enemy. There were also many noble realm experts in the martial arts holy lands. If the news was leaked, the Changsun sect would definitely not be able to fend off so many noble realm experts. Sect leader, first elder, don't worry. This time, I will strengthen the Changsun God Sealing Array, and use the tree of path understanding as the eye of the array. When the time comes, even if a noble realm expert dares to cause trouble, he will not be able to return alive. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. If he had not returned in time today, the sun god would have discovered the tree of path understanding. Given the relationship between the Sun Moon Stars sect and the Changsun sect, the sun god should be able to recognize the origin of the tree of path understanding. If that happened, it would be troublesome. Even if Ling Xiao had the sky-devouring sword, he would definitely die if he faced a noble realm expert. Chapter 328. Rumble. The entire Longevity Mountain trembled. A mysterious ripple spread out from the forbidden area behind the mountain. It was as if the entire world had been enveloped by it. Ling Xiao stood before the Epiphany tree and formed a seal with his hands. Powerful sky-devouring dipper energy spread out from his body. He used the power of his martial path primordial spirit to communicate with the longevity god sealing array, preparing to strengthen the array. The longevity god sealing array was originally set up by Ling Xiao and Jin Sei. 10,000 years ago, it had the power to suppress supremes and slay gods and demons. After 10,000 years, the longevity god sealing array had lost most of its power. However, the foundation was still there. Ling Xiao believed that one day, the longevity god sealing array would regain its power from 10,000 years ago, or even become stronger. Rise. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly as the earth trembled. Endless amounts of earth qi surged and intertwined with the light emitted by the path understanding tree. It was as if countless divine chains of order were formed, connecting heaven and earth. It was extremely mysterious. In the void, purple lightning flashed. Rays of sword light spread out like an endless sea of swords. Ling Xiao was lifted up by the power of heaven and earth. With the Epiphany Tree as the foundation, he mobilized the draconic earth chi of Longevity Mountain and the endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth to strengthen the longevity god sealing array. An ancient and powerful fluctuation enveloped the Longevity Mountain, causing everyone's eyes to reveal a look of extreme shock. On a peak of Longevity Mountain, the sun god and Peng Zihao opened their eyes. There was a trace of seriousness in their eyes. The longevity god sealing array's power is increasing? Looks like there really is an incredible treasure in the forbidden area behind the mountain. The sun god's eyes shone brightly. He was very familiar with the longevity god sealing array. Although this supreme divine array had shocked the heavens 10,000 years ago, it had become incomparably weak. Otherwise, the sun god wouldn't have been able to break through the barrier of the forbidden area. The longevity god sealing array needed a divine item as its core. The more precious the item, the more terrifying its power. 10,000 years ago, the longevity god sealing array was able to unleash the power to slay gods and demons because of the Epiphany Tree, the first connate spiritual root. Now, he could feel that the aura of the immortality god seal array was getting stronger and stronger. This confirmed the sun god's guess that there must be an incredible treasure in the back mountain. Perhaps. However, our top priority is the immortal secret land. We shouldn't complicate matters. This time, the immortal secret land might contain the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme and the immortal paragon. You must get one of them. That's the foundation of our sun-moon-star sex indestructibility. Peng Zihao's eyes flashed as well. It was as if he could see through the void and saw Ling Xiao's figure in the forbidden grounds. The sun god nodded and said, "Don't worry, Supreme Elder. Given the relationship between the Sun-Moon-Star sect and the Changsun sect, the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme will definitely be mine." Even the sun god couldn't help but feel excited when he thought about the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme, the unrivaled expert who had swept through the heavens 10,000 years ago. If he could obtain the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme, he would have a chance to step onto the path of martial arts and reach the pinnacle of martial arts, becoming a supreme. That's right. The Sun-Moon-Star sect is determined to get the inheritance of sky-devouring supreme and longevity supreme. At that time, the sect leader and I will do our best to help you and the moon god. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can't miss it. That's right, said the Sun-Moon-Star sect. Peng Zihao said slowly with a sharp look in his eyes. The two of them fell silent again, especially the sun god. His body was covered in red flames and the divine light of the sun was dazzling. He was engulfed in the essence of heaven and earth and entered a mysterious state. He gave up on observing the changes in the immortal god sealing array. Boom! After an unknown period of time, the entire immortal mountain trembled slightly. The sea of lightning and the sword radiance disappeared at the same time. Only then did the immortal god sealing array calm down. A mysterious fluctuation spread out. At this moment, the tree of path understanding looked different. It was as if it was intertwined with countless divine chains of order. Every leaf was sparkling and translucent. The entire tree emitted a divine light, making people feel as if they were floating in the air. Moreover, the path understanding chi was getting thicker. It was as if they could feel the true meaning of martial arts at any time. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and opened his eyes slowly. There was a trace of fatigue in his eyes. Even though he had formed the martial path primordial spirit, activating the immortal god's sealing array consumed a lot of primordial spirit power. Sect leader, first elder, I've used the tree of path understanding as the foundation and mobilized the longevity dragon vein to strengthen the power of the god sealing formation. Even a noble realm expert would not be able to break through the defense of the formation. Celestial realm experts would definitely die. With the protection of the formation, our longevity sect will have an additional layer of protection. Ling Xiao looked at Nangong Xian and Great Elder and smiled. Even noble realm experts can't break through? Nangong Xian's eyes were filled with shock. However, as the sect leader of the immortal sect, he could naturally feel the terrifying power of the immortal god's sealing array. It made him tremble in fear. Ling Xiao took out the immortal peach tree and planted it in the valley. With the path understanding chi from the path understanding tree, the immortal peach tree could grow rapidly. Although the immortal peach tree couldn't be compared to the path understanding fruit, it was still a top-grade king medicine. It was extremely precious to the immortal sect. Nangong Xian and Great Elder were almost numb. They were shocked by Ling Xiao's endless methods. With so many treasures, if it wasn't for Ling Xiao, they would have been snatched away by the martial path holy lands. They were extremely grateful that the sky-devouring Supreme Patriarch had appeared and sent such a monstrous disciple to the immortal sect. The enchantment of the back mountain was also strengthened. Ling Xiao had also taught Nangong Xian the secret control technique. Even Peng Zihao couldn't break the enchantment, let alone the sun god. After all, the path understanding tree was too precious. Ling Xiao had to be careful. Ling Xiao, Nangong Xian, and Great Elder walked out of the back mountain. Outside the valley, Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk, Zuozhen, Deng Yalin, Deng Tianda, and many other elders and disciples of the immortal sect were waiting outside. When they heard the news of Ling Xiao's return, they were all extremely excited. Ling Xiao was now the idol of all the disciples in the immortal sect. Tao you're back? Nangong Qing was dressed in white with a long sword on her back. Her hair was like a waterfall and she was still as cold as a fairy. However, when she saw Ling Xiao, her bright eyes revealed a trace of excitement. She smiled at Ling Xiao. In an instant, the sky lost its color. All the disciples stared blankly. This eldest senior sister was a famous ice and snow fairy. Who would have thought that there would be a time when she would smile? Chapter 329. That's right, I'm back. Ling Xiao smiled. Looking at Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk, and the other familiar faces, he felt that their cultivations had undergone a qualitative change this time around. Nangong Qing and Jian Wuk had the highest cultivation. They had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm. They were only one step away from entering the Grandmaster realm. Zuozhen, Deng Yalin, Wang Chuanxiong, Gu Zhong, Wang Han and the other Changxing sect disciples that Ling Xiao was familiar with had also reached the Dragon Tiger realm. Ling Xiao knew that these disciples were all loyal to the Changxing sect. They must have been the first batch to enjoy the benefits of the Path Understanding Tree. That was why their cultivation had risen so quickly. Saint, I heard that Shi Tian Luo died at your hands. I thought that we could still catch up to you, but it seems like the gap is even bigger. Jian Wuk laughed bitterly. There was a trace of shock in his eyes. Didn't you see? Just now, even the arrogant sun god was only able to match the holy sun in terms of aura. The holy sun will become a supreme being sooner or later. Deng Yalin said excitedly. He described the confrontation between Ling Xiao and the sun god, and the eyes of all the disciples were filled with shock and fanaticism. The sun god was a genius expert of the celestial realm. They had never seen an expert of this level before, and the Holy Sun was actually able to contend with a celestial realm expert. Didn't that mean that the Holy Sun also had the battle prowess of a celestial realm expert? Deng Yalin, I haven't seen you for so long. You haven't learned anything else, but your flattery skills are getting better and better. Ling Xiao looked at Deng Yalin and scolded him with a smile. Deng Yalin chuckled and rubbed his head. I'm telling the truth. The sun god was so much older than the saint. He was simply living like a dog. Deng Yalan had been bullied by the Sun Moon Star sect disciples before, so he naturally didn't have a good impression of them. Now, he could finally hold his head high. The pressure on the Sun Moon Star sect was also reduced by a lot. Ling Xiao and Nangong Qing exchanged a few pleasantries. His gaze swept across the crowd, and a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. Where is Xue Wei? Ling Xiao originally thought that Xue Wei would definitely come over after hearing the commotion. However, he didn't see Xue Wei. Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk and the others' expressions changed when they heard Ling Xiao's question. What's going on? What happened to Xue Wei? Ling Xiao's gaze turned cold, and so did his voice. Holy Sun, I'm fine. Miss Xue Wei is in the Brocade Pagoda, but the Brocade Pagoda is now occupied by the Moon Goddess. Deng Yalan braced himself and said, What? A sharp glint appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes as he exuded a powerful aura that swept out in all directions. Faintly, a powerful dragon's might filled the air. Many disciples and even the elders of the Changsan sect could feel the vast aura from Ling Xiao. Their bodies trembled and their eyes were filled with astonishment. The saint was really strong. Nangong Qing hurriedly said, Ling Xiao, don't worry. Xue Wei is fine. Although the moon goddess has occupied Jin's pavilion, she spends most of her time cultivating. Miss Xue Wei seems to have a good relationship with her. Hearing Nangong Qing's words, the coldness in Ling Xiao's eyes lessened slightly, but he still turned into a ray of light and flew towards Jin's pavilion. Let's go take a look too. Nangong Xian pondered for a moment, and many disciples and elders quickly followed. In the valley where Jin's pavilion was located, there was a quiet bamboo forest, a waterfall, and a spiritual mist. It was very peaceful. Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast. Like a golden lightning, he swept past the bamboo forest in an instant and stood in front of Jin's pavilion. Who's there? Two girls in white stood outside the door. When they saw Ling Xiao appear, they immediately pulled out their long swords and pointed at Ling Xiao with a murderous look. This is my Jin's pavilion. How dare you stop me? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and two rays of cold light shot out, majestic and sharp. This is Senior Sister Yueshin's place of seclusion. Leave quickly, or you'll lose your life on the spot. The two girls in white were both in the Grandmaster realm. Their eyes were cold, and sword light shot out from their long swords towards Ling Xiao. Lose my life on the spot? Who do you think you are? Get lost. Ling Xiao shouted coldly, and his eyes were filled with coldness. His voice was like thunder, and the two long swords suddenly bent. Boom! Ling Xiao's body emitted a vast aura, and the devouring true qi burst out. The two long swords exploded in an instant, and a powerful force blasted the two girls, sending them flying. They coughed out blood, and their eyes were filled with shock and anger. In their opinion, Ling Xiao was only in the Grandmaster realm, but he could injure them seriously without even moving. How could there be such a terrifying person in the Changsan sect? Ling Xiao didn't even look at the two girls, and walked straight into Jin's pavilion. The two girls in white stood up from the ground, and with their long swords in hand, the sword light burst out and pierced towards Ling Xiao's back. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent. When he was about to move, a cold voice came from Jin's pavilion. Han Mei, Yuha, stop. When the two girls in white heard the voice, they instantly stopped, put away the long swords in their hands, and stood there respectfully. The bamboo door was pushed open, and Yueshin, shrouded in light, walked out slowly. Her face was peerless, and she had a unique temperament. She was holding the hand of a girl in a black dress. Her face was very delicate, and her skin was snow-white. She exuded a cold temperament, but the moment she saw Ling Xiao, her eyes were filled with excitement. Young master! The girl in the black dress was Xue Wei. She immediately ran over and plunged into Ling Xiao's arms. Young master, I thought you didn't want Xue Wei anymore. You've been gone for so long, sob sob sob. Xue Wei's little face was filled with grievance, and she hugged Ling Xiao tightly as she sobbed. Silly girl, how could I not want you? Ling Xiao touched Xue Wei's hair lovingly, and said with a smile. At the same time, Ling Xiao felt two soft and elastic things on his chest. He was stunned, and as if he thought of something, he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. This girl has really grown up. Speaking of which, Xue Wei was only a few months younger than Ling Xiao. She was already a 16-year-old girl. Young master, you must not abandon me in the future. After a moment, Xue Wei was a little embarrassed as she wriggled out of Ling Xiao's arms. Her little face was red, but her eyes were firm as she spoke. Okay, I won't abandon you. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Yueshan stood at the side and looked at Ling Xiao and Xue Wei's intimate appearance with a strange look in her eyes. Yueshan, why are you in Jin's pavilion? Don't you know that this is my residence? Chapter 330. The moon goddess waved her hand, and the two white-clothed girls retreated. She then looked at Ling Xiao, and her eyes revealed a trace of apology. This is indeed my fault, but Xue Wei and I hit it off right away. Living here makes it convenient to teach her. I didn't expect Xue Wei to have the legendary Nine Nether bloodline. You know about the Nine Nether bloodline too? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This was the 8 Desolation region and not the War God continent. Although the Nine Nether bloodline was a top bloodline, it was extremely rare. Ling Xiao was surprised that the moon goddess knew about it. I've read about it in an ancient book. Legend has it that the Nine Nether Supreme from 10,000 years ago was given the title of Nine Nether because he possessed the bloodline of Nine Nether. He was ranked 3rd among the 10 great titled Supreme from 10,000 years ago. He was extremely powerful, second only to the Sky-Devouring Supreme and the True Dragon Supreme. I didn't expect Xue Wei to have the Nine Nether bloodline. The moon goddess said calmly with a hint of surprise in her eyes. She already couldn't see through Ling Xiao. However, she didn't expect the people around Ling Xiao to be so monstrous. The Nine Nether bloodline was the top bloodline and had the potential to become a supreme. It wasn't something that ordinary bloodline warriors could compare to. Ancient book? I didn't expect the moon goddess to know so much. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said noncommittally. Young Master Ling, to make amends, you might need this. The moon goddess's eyes flashed. She could feel Ling Xiao's displeasure. Her hand flashed as she handed Ling Xiao an ancient jade talisman. What is this? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he casually sent his primordial spirit into it to check. Suddenly Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This is the Nine Nether scripture? No, only the Nine Nether scripture can be considered a Nine Nether scripture. How did you get this? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with shock for the first time. What was recorded in that piece of ancient jade was none other than the 9 underworld scripture that Supreme 9 underworlds had cultivated. It was a pity that it was incomplete, as there was only a small portion of it. At most, it could be cultivated up to celestial realm. I found this in an ancient relic by accident. Perhaps the owner of this ancient jade was the disciple of the Nine Nether Supreme. That's why he had the Nine Nether scripture. However, this martial art is the most suitable for Xue Wei to cultivate, isn't it? The moon god faintly smiled. Though she was still cold, she looked more real. You're right, this Nine Nether fragment is indeed the most suitable for Xue Wei to cultivate. Alright, I'll take it. Tell me what you want. He didn't believe that the moon goddess would be so generous to take out the 9 Serenities book fragment. Even if it was the 9 Nether incomplete martial technique, it was still comparable to a heaven-tier inferior grade martial technique. Furthermore, it was the first part of the 9 Nether scripture. It was extremely precious. The moon goddess and Ling Xiao did not have a deep relationship. She definitely had a motive for taking out something like this. I hope that you can help me obtain the Sun Moon Star scripture after the Longevity Mystery Land opens. Moon God smiled faintly. Her eyes shone brightly. The stellar scripture of Sun and Moon? How are you so sure that the celestial scripture is in the Longevity Mystic Realm? Ling Xiao's eyes glinted as he spoke with a deeper meaning. He was surprised that the moon god would make such a request. I'm sure. The Longevity Mystery Land is the Longevity Sect's Mystery Land. There should be a lot of precious martial arts inside. You know the relationship between the Sun Moon Star sect and the Longevity sect. The Sun-Moon Star scripture was given to us by the sky-devouring Supreme. However, the Sun-Moon Star sect has lost the star scripture. Hence, I hope that you can help me once. The moon god said solemnly. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with curiosity. He said, after the secret territory of immortality opens, the noble plain cultivators from the holy lands of martial arts will definitely come. Even if you have the Sun and Moon Star scripture, you should ask your headmaster for help. Are you so sure that I can help you? I'm sure. The moon god faintly smiled and did not say anything else. Alright. If that's the case, I'll help you once if you can find the Sun-Moon Star scripture. Ling Xiao nodded. Thank you. If that's the case, I'll take my leave. The moon god glanced at Shui Wei and smiled. Then, she turned and left the pavilion. Young master, Sister Moon God is a good person. She taught me a lot these days. Shui Wei looked at the moon god's departing figure reluctantly. What did she teach you? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Sister Moon God taught me how to cultivate and control the 9 nether qi in my body. Young master, look at my cultivation. Shui Wei smiled and activated her cultivation. Dragon Tiger Realm Level 6. Ling Zhao's body shook and his eyes flashed with disbelief. When Ling Xiao left, Shui Wei was still in the genuine qi realm. In the blink of an eye, she had crossed 2 realms. Ling Xiao felt that it was unreal. Have you started cultivating the 9 nether incomplete manual? It seems that the moon god was not lying. I should really thank her. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with gentleness. He could see that the genuine qi in Shui Wei's body had been converted into 9 nether genuine qi. Furthermore, she had consumed some precious treasure that could raise her cultivation. It should be the work of the moon god. Shui Wei's current cultivation was only second to Ling Xiao, Nangong Qing and Jian Wuk among the younger generation of the Changsun sect. If others knew about it, they would be so shocked that their eyeballs would fall to the ground. Even Ling Xiao couldn't help but be envious. Shui Wei's 9 nether bloodline was indeed a top-notch martial bloodline. Young master, I will cultivate well. When my cultivation becomes stronger, I will protect you. Shui Wei raised her tender little fist and said firmly. All right, I'll wait. Ling Xiao said with a smile. After chatting with Shui Wei for a while, Ling Xiao went into seclusion in the pavilion. This time, he was prepared to refine all the peaches of immortality into peach elixirs. Not only could the peach elixir raise one's cultivation, but it could also raise one's aptitude. It could turn a loser into a genius and a genius into a peerless genius. Furthermore, with the help of the peach elixir, Shui Wei might be able to stimulate the 9 nether bloodline and increase her cultivation. Very quickly, Ling Xiao had refined the peach elixirs from the dozen peaches of immortality into more than 40 peach elixirs. The peach elixirs were dazzling with golden light and emitted a mysterious fragrance. The color was like jade and one could tell that it was a top-notch elixir. I already have the aptitude of a king. I wonder if the peach elixir is still useful to me? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he took out a peach elixir and threw it into his mouth. A powerful force exploded. It was vast and gentle as it started to cleanse Ling Zhao's body and replenish his life force. Boom! Chapter 331. The immortality peach tree was also a spiritual root of heaven and earth. Although it was not as good as the tree of enlightenment, it was still a top-notch king medicine. However, Ling Xiao already had the aptitude of a king. The next step was to become an innate supreme and an innate god. This was not something that could be done with just one immortality peach pill. After all, only someone like Shui Wei who had the 9 nether bloodline could be considered an innate supreme. As long as there were no accidents, she would definitely become a supreme in the future. After Ling Xiao had completely refined the immortality peach pill, his cultivation had also broken through from the first level of the Grandmaster realm to the second level of the Grandmaster realm. His life origin was more abundant, but his aptitude did not change much. It seems that this immortality peach pill can only raise one's aptitude to the king realm. It is not of much use to me, but it is extremely valuable to the disciples of the Changsun sect. Ling Xiao thought to himself and ended his seclusion. Outside the Jin's pavilion, Nangong Xian and the first elder were waiting. Sect leader, this is the immortality peach pill. It can raise one's cultivation and allow one to be reborn. Ling Xiao took out half of the immortality peach pill and gave it to Nangong Xian. He then explained the use of the immortality peach pill. There really is a pill that can raise one's aptitude? This is too precious. Nangong Xian and the first elder were shocked. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. However, they were also very excited. With these immortality peach pills, the Changsun sect would be able to cultivate another batch of genius disciples. They were happy to see the Changsun sect become stronger and stronger. Sect leader, I'll leave this batch of immortality peach pills to you. Is there any news about the Changsun secret realm? Ling Xiao asked. This was what he was most concerned about. Nangong Xian's expression became serious. I'm here to tell you about this. Someone has already found the entrance to the Changsun secret realm. The Wanshou sect and the other ancient kingdoms are attacking the formation at the entrance. However, the formation is extremely powerful. Even a noble realm expert would find it difficult to shake it. All the sects have already sent messages back to their sections. I'm afraid that the leaders of the Holy Lands will be here soon. There will be a fierce battle then. The secret territory of longevity has finally appeared. Is it a grand formation? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. The array at the entrance of the secret territory of longevity was personally set up by him. If they couldn't find a way to break the array, how could it be so easy to force their way in? Saint, there's another piece of news. I heard that someone saw the muddle-headed old man in the ferocious Beast Mountain range. It's very likely that he's here for the secret land of immortality, the first elder said slowly. Ling Xiao was stunned, and a trace of a strange expression appeared in his eyes. I used the identity of the muddle-headed old man's disciple to swindle him, yet this old fellow actually didn't die? Now that he thought about it, it was another matter that gave him a headache. Sect Master, go back and gather all the disciples of the longevity sect. Only those at the spirit transformation realm and above and those who have cultivated the longevity chi refining art can enter the longevity secret realm. Let's prepare and head to the longevity secret realm tomorrow. Everyone, don't worry. The longevity mystic realm is a treasure left for us by the old ancestor. Those people can't open it at all. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as he spoke slowly. Alright. Hearing Ling Zhao's confidence, Nangong Xian also felt a little relieved. He led the disciples out of the Jin's pavilion and prepared to head to the longevity secret realm. Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk, Deng Yalan and the others were also very excited. This was the longevity secret realm, which contained countless treasures. It was the training ground for the disciples of the longevity sect 10,000 years ago. If they could obtain the inheritance of the longevity sect's elders, it would definitely allow the longevity sect to rise rapidly. Ling Xiao looked at Xue Wei, and there was a trace of nervousness in Xue Wei's eyes. She quickly said, "Young master, I want to go too." Ling Xiao smiled and nodded. "All right, I'll bring you along. But you have to be obedient. Refine these 3 immortality peach pellets first and work hard to raise your cultivation. Also, continue to cultivate the longevity chi refining art." Yes, Xue Wei is very obedient. The little girl's face was filled with a bright smile as she nodded repeatedly. Xue Wei swallowed the 3 immortality peach pellets and Ling Xiao used the sky-devouring secret skill to help Xue Wei refine them. He slowly smoothed out her meridians and used the energy of the immortality peach pellets to cleanse her bones and replenish her life force. Originally, the energy of the 3 immortality peach pellets should have been enough to help Xue Wei break through to the 9th level of the Dragon Tiger realm. However, Ling Xiao suppressed her cultivation and did not allow Xue Wei to break through. After all, Xue Wei's cultivation speed was too fast and her foundation was not stable. Divine flesh and jade bones, as expected of the 9 nether bloodline. Ling Xiao sighed. He could see that all the meridians in Xue Wei's body were connected, and her bones emitted a jade-like luster. Her entire body was clear and untainted by even a speck of dust. Moreover, there was a cold, dark, and divine energy permeating her blood vessels. Shui Wei did not need to cultivate much, and he could see that all the pores on her body were open and devouring the essence of heaven and earth. It was as if she had a leakless real body. It was very mysterious. This was the natural talent of a supreme being. Whether it was in his previous life or in this life, Ling Xiao only had an ordinary talent. He relied on his own efforts to become a supreme being. Even when he saw Shui Wei's talent, he could not help but sigh. She was truly the darling of heaven and earth. She had great luck. Finally, when he saw that Shui Wei's cultivation had stabilized, Ling Xiao stopped and turned to leave Jin's pavilion. In the forbidden grounds of the back mountain, Ling Xiao carefully plucked a leaf from the epiphany tree and took out a 10,000-year warm jade. The true devouring fire slowly floated in his palm. The 10,000-year warm jade and the epiphany tree's leaf shone together, emitting a resplendent glow. From the path understanding tree's leaf, dozens of green rays of light were separated and merged into the 10,000 years warm jade. Very quickly, the runes filled the air, and the light of treasures sparkled. Although Ling Xiao did not refine many weapons in this life, it was still very smooth. It was like moving clouds and flowing water. Very quickly, he refined dozens of white jade talismans. Each jade talisman had a trace of green light flowing within it. It looked very mysterious. With these longevity tokens, even if we enter the longevity secret territory to fight for treasures, the survival of the Changsun sect's disciples will be more assured. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and looked at the fearsome beast mountain range in the distance with a hint of anticipation. The next day, all the Changsun sect's disciples gathered at the longevity square early in the morning. Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Chunyang Zhenren were chatting happily with Nangong Xian. Sky Sword Li Ling was sitting cross-legged under the longevity paragon statue. His entire body was filled with sword intent, and there was a faint glimmer of sharpness. Ling Qingqing, Xia Hongxiu, and Lung Feng were staring at the heaven-devouring paragon statue with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Chapter 332. After Ling Xiao came out of seclusion, the silver-ringed lightning snake on his wrist had finally broken through to a rank 5 demonic beast after devouring the silver thunder python's demonic pill. It became even more dazzling and beautiful. Ling Xiao gave the silver-ringed lightning snake to Shui Wei and planted a slave seal on it. The silver-ringed lightning snake became a silver bracelet on Shui Wei's wrist. The silver-ringed lightning snake was a primordial variant with the bloodline of the true dragon. Not only was it as fast as lightning, but it could also control lightning. It was also highly venomous. Even a celestial realm expert would be severely injured if he was bitten by a rank 5 silver-ringed lightning snake. Ling Xiao was relieved that Shui Wei was going to enter the longevity secret land with the silver-ringed lightning snake protecting her. "Thank you, young master." Shui Wei loved the bracelet so much that she could not bear to part with it. The silver-ringed lightning snake seemed to have sensed Shui Wei's 9 nether bloodline. It was very close to Shui Wei and enjoyed the aura on her. "Let's go," Ling Xiao said with a smile. A loud roar shook the clouds. Ling Xiao released the long-armed Ape King and its descendants. Ling Xiao and Shui Wei stood on the long-armed Ape King's shoulder and headed to the longevity peak. "This is the sound of a demonic beast?" Nangong Xian, the great elder, and the rest heard the roar of the long-armed Ape King and felt the powerful demonic qi that filled the air. Their eyes were filled with shock. Bang, bang, bang. The peak shook and the demonic qi filled the sky. The Ape King's huge body slowly appeared on the longevity square. Everyone's face turned pale when they felt the ferocious demonic qi. A peak rank 6 demonic beast, comparable to a level 9 celestial realm expert. Could it have been tamed by the saint? Many of the Changsun sect's disciples were shocked and excited at the same time. Sect leader, these long-armed ape monkeys are primordial variants with powerful strength. Most of them are rank 5 demonic beasts. Every disciple who is going to the longevity secret land can choose one. They will protect you, Ling Xiao said with a smile. Although these long-armed ape monkeys could not fly, they were fast. They were powerful and could be used as mounts to form an army of ape knights for the longevity sect. Good, good, good. Ling Xiao, I didn't expect you to be able to tame even an archaic variant beast. With these long-armed ape monkeys, our Changsheng sect's chances of survival in the Changsheng secret territory will increase greatly. Nangong Xian was also very excited. With a command, all the longevity sect disciples immediately came forward to pick their own long-armed ape. Although the long-armed ape monkeys were incomparably ferocious, under the suppression of Ling Xiao and the long-armed ape king, each and every one of them appeared to be very docile and charmingly naive. This made the longevity sect disciples who were trembling with fear instantly feel at ease. Even Ling Qingqing, Xia Hongxiu, and Grandmaster Jiao Mu chose a long-armed ape monkey. Young Master Ling, may I have the honor to join you? At this moment, a cold and pleasant voice sounded out. The moon goddess, shrouded in light, walked over with two white-clothed girls and an old farmer servant. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. Peng Zihao, the sun god, and the others from the Sun-Moon-Star sect had already gone to the fearsome Beast Mountain range, but the moon god had not left yet. Thoughts ran through his mind. The more he thought about it, the more he could not see through this woman. He smiled and said, "Of course. If the moon goddess does not mind, please join me." "Thank you, young Master Ling." The moon goddess smiled faintly. Her body was live, and her clothes were whiter than snow. She stepped on the void, ethereal and otherworldly. In an instant, she arrived on the shoulder of the long-armed ape king and stood beside Ling Xiao. A delicate fragrance wafted over, intoxicating everyone. Ling Xiao and the moon goddess stood side by side, looking like a perfect couple. Everyone's eyes were filled with envy. Ling Qingqing, Xia Hongxiu, Nangong Qin, Lu Piapiao, and the other girls had strange looks in their eyes. "Let's go." Ling Xiao smiled faintly, and a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Instantly, with the long-armed ape king as the leader, the rest of the long-armed apes thumped their chests, roared loudly, and dashed down the longevity mountain. The mountain range rumbled, and smoke billowed. Everyone stood on the shoulders of the long-armed ape kings, feeling exhilarated and exhilarated. The surrounding scenery flew past, and soon, everyone left the longevity sect and headed towards the fearsome Beast Mountain range. The entire longevity mountain flashed with light. The Great Elder stayed behind to guard the mountain gate, and activated the longevity god's sealing array to envelop the entire longevity mountain. In the fearsome Beast Mountain range, two sacred mountains pierced through the clouds, looking majestic. In the middle of the two sacred mountains, a dazzling light flashed, and a huge stone gate appeared. The stone gate shone brightly, and runes filled the air, exuding an ancient and mysterious aura. The news of the longevity secret territory's appearance spread across the entire 8 Desolates region in a short period of time. At this moment, there were already many powerful figures in front of the stone gate. They stared at the stone gate, and their eyes were filled with excitement and fear. In front of the stone gate, there were more than a dozen corpses lying in a mess. Some of them had their glabella pierced, some of them were decapitated, and some of them had turned into minced meat. A faint smell of blood permeated the air. Everyone knew that behind the stone gate was the longevity secret territory, but no one dared to take a step forward. The corpses at the stone gate ranged from the spirit transformation realm to the celestial realm experts. However, without exception, all of them had died in the strange array. It should be known that the sect leaders of many small sects were only at the Grandmaster realm, and the celestial realm experts were considered nobles in the ancient countries. If even such people were dead, who could break the array? Everyone was now looking forward to the arrival of the peerless experts from the martial arts holy lands. They would definitely be able to break the array in one fell swoop. Rumble! The earth shook, and a group of armored horses came from afar. Their eyes were cold, and their killing intent was monstrous. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a yellow dragon robe and a purple gold crown. His whole body exuded a vast aura. Beside him was a young man wearing a feathered crown. He looked dignified and arrogant, and his cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm. The king of the great Huang ancient country, Huang Quan, and the first prince, Huang Haifeng, are here," someone exclaimed with a hint of awe in his eyes. It seems that the king of Huang Quan has broken through to the half-step noble realm, and Huang Haifeng is the top genius of the great Huang ancient country. He has mastered the true dragon technique and reached the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm before the age of 30. His future is limitless. There was a lot of discussion in the crowd. When they saw the armored horses coming, they consciously made way for them. "It's just an array. So many people can't break it? What a bunch of trash." Huang Haifeng sneered with disdain. His eyes shone brightly as they fell on the stone gate. His eyes were burning with passion. Rumble! Innate gang chi surged around him, and a dragon-shaped saber appeared in his hand. It exuded a mysterious aura, and he slashed at the stone gate. "It's the supreme Taoist weapon, the Hell Dragon Saber? This is the national treasure of the great Huang ancient country. I didn't expect it to be passed down to Huang Haifeng. The Hell Dragon Saber is unparalleled. Perhaps it can break this array." Chapter 333. Rumble. As the Hell Dragon Saber fell, the white saber radiance was dazzling. However, in an instant, countless sharp divine lights shot out from the surroundings of the stone gate. They were extremely fast. Huang Haifeng's expression changed as he felt a fatal threat from those divine lights. Without hesitation, the Hell Dragon Saber wrapped around his body. Saber radiance burst out and struck down those divine lights. Clang. However, those sharp divine lights were like sword radiance. They became denser and stronger. In the end, the Hell Dragon Saber vibrated violently and Huang Haifeng was sent flying dozens of feet away. He spat out blood and crashed to the ground. Cough cough, Huang Haifeng stood up, his eyes filled with horror. He was just at the edge of the array and was almost pierced through by thousands of swords. If he had really entered the array, he would have become one of the corpses on the ground. The key was that he was severely injured before he could see what the array looked like. Huang Haifeng, you want to break the array with your little tricks?" A wild and unrestrained laughter rang out in the void. Rumble! A black treasure ship came across the sky, emitting a monstrous demonic aura. Its aura was extremely powerful. A black-robed youth with black hair stood on the ship. His aura was wild and evil. His eyes were filled with disdain. Beside him was a middle-aged man in a black dragon robe. He looked majestic and powerful. He emitted a powerful aura that filled the heavens and the earth. "It's the Xinjiao Crown Prince and King Hongju of the Great Hong Ancient Country. The Great Hong Ancient Country and the Great Yellow Ancient Country are neighbors. The Xinjiao Crown Prince is the #1 genius of the Great Hong Ancient Country. He and Huang Haifeng have both won and lost. This is going to be a good show." The Xinjiao Crown Prince is already at the peak of level 9 Grandmaster realm. He's only one step away from entering the celestial realm. Everyone's eyes flashed as they recognized the newcomers. They began to discuss softly. "Hong Xinjiao, don't be sarcastic. Break the array if you can." Huang Haifeng's eyes were filled with anger as he stared at the Xinjiao Crown Prince and said coldly, "I naturally don't have the ability to break the array. However, I'm not like someone who doesn't know his own limits. This array can't be broken unless one is in the noble realm," Hong Xinjiao said with a faint smile. "Hong Xinjiao, do you dare to fight with me?" Huang Haifeng's eyes grew colder and colder. His battle intent soared as he pointed the Hell Dragon Saber at Hong Xinjiao. "Do you think I'm afraid of you? But are you sure you're a match for me in your current state?" The Crown Prince's eyes flashed. He emitted a monstrous demonic aura. There seemed to be a black demonic axe floating above his head, emitting a soul-stirring light. Right when the two of them were confronting each other, divine light weaved about in the distance. The great earth surged. More people arrived. It was 100 Zhonglong Crimson Flood Dragon, emitting a faint dragon aura. It was actually a peak 6th rank demonic beast, incomparably powerful. A group of extraordinary young men and women stood on top of it. Of the two people in the lead, one wore an azure dragon robe. His black hair fluttered in the wind, his face was handsome, and there was a dragon mark between his eyebrows. He looked domineering and dignified. There seemed to be a mysterious dragon aura around him. His eyes flashed and he emitted an invincible aura. No one dared to look at him directly. The other woman was wearing a red dress. Her figure was very hot. Her thighs were slender and firm, and her waist was small and slender. Especially the two white rabbits in front of her chest, it could make people's blood boil after seeing it. She had a perfect face. Her lips were as red as fire, and her skin was as smooth as jade. She had a unique charm to her, especially her pair of large eyes that could steal one's soul. As her gaze moved, it caused everyone to be stunned. The Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl from the Wan Shou sect? These two are the top geniuses of the 7 disciples of the Wan Shou sect. They're indeed extraordinary and powerful. The Phoenix Girl's peerless appearance can make the world pale in comparison. Perhaps only the moon god from the Sun Moon Star sect can be compared to her. The arrival of the Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl caused a commotion. Everyone's eyes were filled with awe. In the entire 8 Desolation region, there were only 5 martial sacred grounds, and the Wan Shou sect was definitely one of the best. The Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl would definitely become royal noble experts in the future and dominate a region. Even the arrogant Huang Haifeng, along with the people from the Grand Yellow Ancient Country, quickly went to greet the Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl with a flattering expression. However, after the people from the Wan Shou sect arrived, they didn't do anything. The Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl chose a peak to land on. They looked at the stone gate in the distance with an indifferent expression. Not long after, the people from the Jade Lake sect, the Grand Mysterious Ancient Country, and the Terminator Demon sect also arrived. The people from the Jade Lake sect and the Grand Mysterious Ancient Country came together. They rode a glazed treasure ship and broke through the sky. Almost all of them were beautiful female disciples. Each of them was tall and had a noble aura. The leader of the group was a woman with a veil covering her face. Her eyes were as bright as the stars. Behind her were several old women with powerful auras. The leader of the Terminator Demon sect was a man wearing black armor. He held a sky-piercer halberd in his hand and emitted a demonic aura. His eyes were indifferent, like a demon god. He stepped on a black rainbow and looked very frightening. It's the young master of the Terminator Demon sect, Mo Kong. This young master is also a ruthless person. Legend has it that when he was at the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm, he killed a celestial being expert. After reaching the celestial being realm, he killed 7 celestial beings in a row and became famous for a period of time. Yes, Mo Kong is the same as the Dragon Son and the Phoenix Girl. They are all the most dazzling geniuses in the entire 8 Desolation region. As more and more geniuses arrived, everyone started discussing in hushed tones. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Normally, the mystical dragon sect was rarely seen in the martial sacred grounds. Now that they were all gathered at the fearsome Beast Mountain range, it was a rare event. In addition to the martial sacred grounds and the 4 ancient countries, there were also some powerful and ancient geniuses from powerful clans. Although these clans usually didn't show their strength, they were still extremely powerful. Although they weren't as strong as the martial sacred grounds, they weren't much weaker than the ancient countries. Rumble. At this moment, lightning flashed in the void, and a torrential ghostly aura spread out, exuding an evil and dark aura. A 100-foot-long skeletal phoenix flew across the sky. It had no flesh and blood, and the ghostly fire in its eyes flickered. It looked very strange. As soon as the skeletal phoenix appeared, the whole mountain range seemed to have fallen into a dead land. Everyone instinctively felt a sense of repulsion and disgust. On top of the skeletal phoenix stood an old man in a black robe and a ferocious mask. He looked like a ghost king, standing there, causing the void to tremble slightly. Behind him stood a group of black-robed men, who also had a ghostly aura, cold and dark. They are from the Netherworld sect. Someone cried out in surprise, and a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. The Netherworld sect's whereabouts were usually secretive, and it was almost a legend in the 8 Desolates region. Now that they were really seeing them, it felt very surreal. especially the old man in the lead. He controlled the will of heaven and earth, and his aura was unparalleled. Just by standing there was an invincible aura of heaven and earth under his feet. Chapter 334. Is this a formation? The ghostly fire in the masked elder's eyes flickered as he looked at the stone door. Boom! Monstrous ghostly aura permeated the air. The elder stepped out and threw a punch. Unparalleled black divine light converged, and the wind howled. It was as if a huge ghostly hand was reaching out from the void, grabbing at the stone door. Everyone was shocked. This was a noble realm cultivator. He might be able to break the formation outside the mystery zone of longevity. Bush, bush, bush. The void trembled slightly and mysterious ripples spread out. Beams of sharp divine light shot out from the void and intertwined like a sea of swords. Boom! The ghostly hand was instantly engulfed by the sharp sword radiance and exploded. Open! The old man roared, and a small black bell appeared in his hand. It grew to a size of 300 meters in the air. The bell rang, emitting fluctuations that made people's souls tremble. It was simple and evil, and it suddenly slammed into the stone door. It's the soul-reaping bell? How could this great array be so terrifying? The highest elder even took out the soul-reaping bell, a supreme doctrine instrument. A netherworld sect's disciple's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. Once the soul-reaping bell is used, the formation will be broken. The other disciple of the ghost sect had a look of conviction in his eyes. The sharp divine light landed on the soul-reaping bell and made a sound of metal clashing. Sparks flew everywhere, but it could not do anything to the soul-reaping bell. The soul-reaping bell flew across the sky and was about to hit the stone door. Boom! Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the void, and a huge stone man appeared outside the stone door. His whole body was emitting golden gung metal sword chi, which condensed together to form a huge golden sword light, slashing down from the sky. The soul-reaping bell trembled violently. The runes on it were dazzling. A huge force came, causing the masked elder's expression to change. Boom! The soul-reaping bell was sent flying hundreds of feet. It buzzed and trembled as it fell into the elder's hand. What kind of formation is this? The old man's expression changed slightly, and a hint of seriousness appeared in his eyes. He could see that the void outside the room was changing, and the power of the 5 elements was flowing. It was a peerless formation formed by invisible forces. What blocked the soul-reaping bell was merely the sword chi formed from the heptametal force. The other 4 origin forces didn't do anything. Is this a formation constructed by an invisible force? Looks like we need at least 5 noble plane cultivators to break the formation. No wonder you're the Changsun sect that ruled the world 10,000 years ago. The old man sighed and put away the soul-reaping bell. He did not continue to attack the formation. Even the noble plane cultivators failed? What kind of formation was this? How can he be so abnormal? Everyone, who was originally eager to give it a try, revealed a trace of shock in their eyes. If even a noble plane cultivator could not break the matrix, then who else could? Could it be that everyone was not fated to enter the secret territory of longevity? Everyone's eyes were filled with disappointment and unwillingness. This was the secret territory of longevity, a treasure trove left behind by the Changsun sect that ruled the world 10,000 years ago. It contained endless treasures, powerful weapons, and supreme inheritances. One could imagine that any treasure in the secret territory of longevity was enough to drive everyone crazy. Boom, 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 boom. Just as the crowd was getting restless, the void began to shake violently, and endless clouds began to roll. 5 monstrous palm prints fell from the sky. They contained the power to destroy everything. Like 5 pillars of divine light, they pierced through the sky and landed on the stone door below. In the void, the wind blew and the clouds surged. 5 powerful silhouettes stood above the 9 heavens, covered in lightning and divine light. Their figures could not be seen clearly, but they emitted a power that made everyone tremble in fear. This is, the supreme headmasters of the 5 holy lands have arrived. Someone exclaimed, and his eyes were filled with excitement. In the entire 8 barren region, only the supreme headmasters of the 5 holy lands could possess such terrifying power. Moreover, one could tell from the aura that they emitted. The one in the south had the starry sky above his head, and his feet stepped on the sun and moon. Divine light shrouded him, and he was elegant and carefree. Obviously, he was the sect master of the Sun-Moon-Star sect. The one in the north had a real dragon coiled around his body, and thousands of beasts roared. He emitted a monstrous demonic aura. He was the supreme headmaster of the Wan Shou sect. The demonic chi in the east was monstrous. He was the sect master of the Terminator demon sect. The divine light in the west was shrouded in divine light, and flowers fell from the sky. He was the supreme headmaster of the Jade Lake sect. The one in the center was dark and cold. He was like the ghost king of the 9 serenities hell, and he controlled the cycle of life and death. He was the sect master of the underworld sect. Although the faces of the 5 powerhouses could not be seen clearly, one could feel the fluctuations of their aura. They were the martial arts of the 5 holy lands. If the sect masters of the 5 holy lands attack together, they will definitely be able to break this strange array. That's right. If the sect masters of the 5 holy lands can't break it, there is no need for us to stay here. Everyone, get ready. Once the array is broken, we will rush in. Everyone was extremely excited. Everyone rubbed their palms and prepared to rush into the secret territory. Boom. The sect masters of the 5 holy lands attacked together. Their aura was shocking. The void shook violently, and endless divine light gushed out. It was as if they were going to smash the stone gate below into pieces. However, the mysterious runes on the stone gate were completely awakened at this moment. Endless runes interweaved, strands of divine chains of order traversed the void. An ancient and mysterious aura awakened. In front of the stone gate, a huge 5 elements diagram appeared. It slowly rotated, describing the truth of the 5 elements. It was like a millstone that rushed into the heavens. Divine light exploded, and the sky shook. Endless chaotic chi filled the air. It was as if there were giant stars falling from the sky. It was terrifying. The earth-shattering rumble made everyone's ears ring. Their hearts trembled, and their faces turned pale. This was the power of a noble plane cultivator. With one attack, he could turn mountains into ashes. It was terrifying beyond compare. However, when the 5 palm prints disappeared, the stone gate below was still intact. The mysterious 5 elements diagram was still above the stone gate, and it was emitting ripples that could seal everything. What? Everyone was shocked, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The sect masters of the 5 holy lands attacked together, but they could not do anything to this array? Even the 5 powerhouses above the void looked at this scene with sparkling eyes. They stopped attacking as if they wanted to see through the array's flaws. Rumble. Chapter 335. On top of every long-armed giant ape, there was a disciple from the Changxing sect. All of them were rushing towards the valley. Especially the leader, the long-armed ape king. His entire body was covered in black hair that resembled steel needles, dazzling and dazzling. He was over 100 feet tall and had a torrential blood aura. Especially his pair of blood-red moon-like eyes, it sent chills down one's spine with a single glance. On top of the long-armed ape king, Ling Xiao held Shui Wei's hand and stood next to the moon goddess. They looked like a perfect couple. Their white robes were purer than snow and they had an extraordinary bearing. They actually have long-armed giant apes as their mounts? Who are these people? Someone's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of surprise. In the entire 8 Desolates region, only the Wan Shou sect could tame demonic beasts. These people were obviously not disciples of the Wan Shou sect. Yet, they were able to tame so many long-armed giant apes. That kind of ferocious aura caused everyone to be secretly shocked. That's the Great Baron King, Xia Huang? And the moon goddess from the Sun-Moon-Star sect? Someone exclaimed, recognizing Xia Huang and the moon goddess. Especially the moon goddess, she was the pride of the entire 8 Desolates region. Her talent was peerless and her appearance was peerless. She was on par with the Phoenix Girl, but her bearing was superior. Many male disciples' eyes fell on the moon goddess, revealing an infatuated look. The moon goddess's white robes were purer than snow, shrouded in the moonlight. She was like a goddess from the moon palace. She was peerless and attracted everyone's attention the moment she appeared. Even the sun god, dragon sun, Mo Kong, and the underworld sex eyes fell on her. Humph, vixen. The Phoenix Girl looked at the dragon sun beside her, revealing a trace of displeasure in her eyes as she snorted coldly. She and the moon goddess were considered the two beauties of the 8 Desolates region. However, the moon goddess's pure and holy aura seemed to have an inexplicable attraction to men. She was always overshadowed by her, causing the Phoenix Girl to be extremely displeased. Ling Xiao, Shui Wei, and the moon goddess descended from the long-armed ape king and slowly walked towards the valley. Everyone's eyes revealed a trace of doubt. Who was the young man beside the moon goddess? Why was he walking with the moon goddess? Although that young man looked extraordinarily handsome and had a transcendent aura, many male disciples revealed looks of extreme jealousy. At this moment, Huang Haifeng smiled and walked in front of the moon goddess. Moon goddess, I am Huang Haifeng, the first prince of the great Huang ancient country. I have met you once in the ferocious Beast Mountain range. Do you remember? Moon god's eyes flashed. She coldly said, I don't remember. Huang Haifeng's face stiffened, but he continued to maintain his smile. However, it didn't look as natural as before. Moon goddess, it's okay if you don't remember. I heard that the secret territory of immortality is full of danger. Why don't you let me follow you and serve you? Huang Haifeng's eyes burned with passion. Ever since he had seen Moon Goddess, he had not been able to forget her. He could not sleep at night. Now that he could see Moon Goddess again, he was extremely excited. No need. She did not even look at Huang Haifeng. She was going to walk forward. Ling Zhao's lips curled into a smile. Moon Goddess's charm was indeed strong, but her personality was a little too cold. However, the smile on Ling Zhao's lips was so dazzling in Huang Haifeng's eyes. Huang Haifeng's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Boy, what are you laughing at? Who do you think you are? How dare you stand beside the moon goddess? Huang Haifeng's anger seemed to have found a place to vent. He sneered and stretched out his hand to push Ling Xiao. In his opinion, pushing this ungrateful brat to the ground could be considered as getting rid of the anger in his heart. However, when his palm landed on Ling Xiao's body, Ling Xiao did not move an inch. He still had a faint smile on his face. Boom! The powerful force came out. It was vast and majestic. Huang Haifeng's arm trembled and he took a few steps back. Boy, who are you? Huang Haifeng's eyes were filled with shock and anger. The boy in front of him had a freakish physical body. He was like a ferocious beast in human form. Just the force of the force was enough to make him suffer. The holy son of the Changxing sect, Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. What? You're Ling Xiao? Didn't you die in the 8 Desolations secret land? Huang Haifeng's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief. However, his gaze instantly turned cold. Very well. You killed my 7th brother, Huang Yunji, in the 8 Desolations secret land. Today you'll pay with your life. Huang Haifeng exuded a cold aura. The Hell Dragon saber in his hand trembled slightly. Everyone's eyes flashed when they heard Huang Haifeng's words. He's Ling Xiao? The Ling Xiao who defeated Shi Tianluo? He looks like he's only at level 2 of the Grandmaster realm. How could he defeat Shi Tianluo who was at level 6 of the Grandmaster realm? I heard that when Ling Xiao defeated Shi Tianluo, he was only at level 3 of the Dragon Tiger realm. According to the latest news, even the Tiger King of the Wanshou sect was killed by Ling Xiao. What? How is that possible? How could this boy be so monstrous? Everyone discussed animatedly. Their eyes were filled with disbelief, especially the disciples of the Wanshou sect. After hearing Ling Xiao's words, their eyes flashed with killing intent as they stared at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had killed the disciples of the Wanshou sect, especially the Tiger King. The peerless genius who was second only to the dragon son and the phoenix girl had died in Ling Xiao's hands. This was a bone-deep hatred. The dragon son's gaze also fell on Ling Xiao, revealing a hint of killing intent. Ling Xiao ignored the murderous gazes around him. He glanced at Huang Haifeng and said indifferently, "Huang Yunji doesn't know what's good for him. Could it be that you want to accompany him down there?" A dangerous aura emanated from Ling Xiao's body. Although Ling Xiao was smiling, his smile looked very cold. "Ling Xiao, don't try to win a battle of words. No one can save you today. You'll definitely die." The murderous intent in Huang Haifeng's eyes seemed to materialize. The hell dragon saber in his hand began to tremble, and a faint dragon's aura spread out. Even the 5 powerhouses in the 9 heavens looked at Ling Xiao. Especially the figure in the west. After seeing Ling Xiao, her beautiful eyes trembled slightly, and a hint of complicated light flashed in them. "Is that so? Since you want to die, then get over here and accept your death." Chapter 336. Kill! Huang Haifeng roared, his eyes blazing with murderous intent. The underworld dragon saber in his hand exuded a powerful pressure. It was like a black dragon, wrapped in a monstrous demonic aura, slashing towards Ling Xiao. The void trembled and rippled. Mysterious runes flowed on the surface of the underworld dragon saber. They resonated with the surrounding heaven and earth like the laws of the great Tao, causing the power of this saber to rise to the extreme like a wave. I never thought that Huang Haifeng could cultivate the true underworld dragon technique to such a level. A heaven-grade martial art is indeed extraordinary. Someone cried out in surprise, his eyes revealing a trace of shock. That's right. With the true underworld dragon technique and the underworld dragon saber, the first prince could even fight against a sky realm expert. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. A few young experts from the great Huang ancient country sneered. They were full of confidence in Huang Haifeng. The aura of this blade was indeed very strong. It pierced through the sky, and its sharpness was unparalleled. It caused the longevity sect's disciples to reveal a look of worry. True underworld dragon technique? Unfortunately, your cultivation is not up to par. Facing the peerless saber light, Ling Xiao's expression did not change. There was a faint light flickering in his eyes. A majestic dragon roar soared into the sky, emitting an ancient, boundless, and majestic aura. At this moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into a primordial true dragon. That terrifying aura caused everyone's expression to change. Boom! Ling Xiao threw out a simple punch. A golden fist prince soared into the sky like a divine mountain. Unparalleled chi and blood erupted, shaking the heavens. This punch was like a primordial true dragon's attack. The dragon's might was unfathomable and unstoppable. Compared to Ling Xiao, Huang Haifeng's underworld dragon saber was like a false dragon. It was completely intimidated by the true dragon chi and lost its edge. Gotcha! This punch of Ling Xiao's was purely a burst of physical strength that could crush everything. The unparalleled saber light in the void instantly exploded. The golden fist struck the hell dragon saber, instantly triggering tens of thousands of rays of light. The underworld dragon saber violently trembled and countless runes exploded. Huang Haifeng's complexion suddenly turned pale. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Huang Haifeng's face suddenly turned pale. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. Rumble! The underworld dragon saber fell, and the unparalleled saber light created a crack on the ground. Huang Haifeng fell to the ground, and his aura instantly became sluggish. The power of a single punch was so great. Everyone was dumbfounded, unable to believe their own eyes. Even Master Jiamu, Li Ling, Xia Huang, and the others who had seen Ling Xiao in action didn't expect him to end the battle so decisively and quickly. Moon God looked at Ling Xiao with her beautiful eyes. It was as if she wanted to see through him. One move, and Huang Haifeng was defeated? How can Ling Xiao be so strong? After a long while, someone came back to his senses. His voice was trembling. I heard that Tiger King of the Wanshou sect died at Ling Xiao's hands. Could it be true? Someone seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. Although there were rumors that Ling Xiao had defeated Shi Tianluo and killed Tiger King, the third of the Wanshou Seven Signs. However, Tiger King was a peerless genius who had one foot in the celestial realm. He had even killed a celestial realm expert before. How could Ling Xiao, a disciple of a small sect, kill Tiger King? Therefore, everyone just treated it as a joke. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao defeated Huang Haifeng with a single punch. That kind of unparalleled combat strength that could crush everything made everyone think of a certain possibility. Tiger King really died at Ling Xiao's hands. In the distance, Dragon Z's gaze landed on Ling Xiao. There was a trace of shock, excitement, and even greed in his eyes. This was because he felt that Ling Xiao's dragon aura was even stronger than his green dragon true technique. What kind of martial art did Ling Xiao cultivate? If he could obtain Ling Xiao's peerless martial art, he would definitely be able to complete his green dragon true technique and explode with even more terrifying power. Thinking of this, Dragon Z's eyes flashed with a trace of hidden killing intent. Haifeng, are you all right? King Huang Quan of the great Huang ancient country helped Huang Haifeng up and fed him as spiritual medicine. Seeing that Huang Haifeng's injuries were not serious, but the supreme grade inner armor on him was completely destroyed, Huang Quan could not help but inwardly gasp. Destroying a supreme grade treasure with a single punch was already the strength of a celestial realm expert. Ling Xiao's punch was too fast, too fierce, and too powerful. Even Huang Quan, who had stepped into the half-step noble realm, could not stop it in time. This boy's talent was too terrifying. He could not be allowed to live. Huang Quan's gaze towards Ling Xiao revealed a trace of chilling killing intent. Father, I'm fine. Kill him for me. Huang Haifeng's face was ferocious as he stared at Ling Xiao with eyes full of hatred. Being defeated by Ling Xiao with a single punch was a great humiliation. The sympathetic gazes of the surrounding people made him even more furious. Don't worry, he will definitely die. Huang Quan's voice was extremely cold. He ordered his subordinates to take care of Huang Haifeng as his gaze fell on Ling Xiao. Boom! A vast and terrifying aura erupted and swept across the sky. A black dragon seemed to have appeared behind Huang Quan. His black hair fluttered in the wind as he stepped forward. His entire body exuded an incomparably cold killing intent. Ling Xiao, come out and die. The cold and murderous voice resounded through the sky, accompanied by the rumbling of thunder. The aura of a half-step noble realm exploded, causing everyone's expression to change. They felt as if the sky was about to collapse, and they felt suffocated. Their faces were extremely pale. However, Ling Xiao did not feel uncomfortable in the face of such an aura. His expression was still very calm as he said indifferently, I hit the young one and the old one jumped out? Who do you think you are to be so arrogant in front of me? Boom! Huang Quan stepped forward. Every step he took caused the sky to shake. The dragon aura on his body rose, becoming more and more vast and majestic. His expression was dignified and his figure was tall. He was like an emperor who ruled over all living things in the world, deciding the life and death of all living things with a single word. Very good, little bastard. When you fall into my hands, you will know what it means to beg for death. The killing intent in Huang Quan's eyes burned. Accompanied by a powerful dragon roar, he grabbed at Ling Xiao with his palm. The noble realm ruled over the will of the world. Although Huang Quan was only a half-step to the noble realm, he was like a part of the will of the world. When his palm landed, it was as if the world had been turned upside down. Buzz! There seemed to be a blazing sword radiance flashing in Ling Xiao's eyes. The sky-devouring sword moved freely in his Dantian ocean of qi and a powerful battle intent spread out. However, at this moment, an unparalleled sword radiance swept across the sky. It was like a vast galaxy, vast and boundless. In an instant, it blocked in front of Ling Xiao. Xia Huang stepped forward and stood in front of Huang Quan. His eyes revealed a trace of indifference. Brother Huang, aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world for attacking a young man with your status? Chapter 337. Boom! The sword radiance clashed with Acheron, causing the void to tremble. Countless rays of divine light shot out and eventually disappeared. Xia Huang? I didn't expect you to reach the half-step noble realm. Acheron's eyes flashed. He could feel Xia Huang's unparalleled aura, which had merged with the surrounding will of heaven and earth. Xia Huang, my seventh son Huang Yunji, died at the hands of Ling Xiao. This is a personal grudge. Ling Xiao must die. I hope you won't stop me. Acheron said coldly. The dragon aura from his body grew stronger. He was also shocked. It was extremely difficult for the kings of the four ancient nations to reach the noble realm. Even Acheron himself had to pay a huge price. Finally, with the help of the Wanshou sect, he was able to reach the noble realm. On the other hand, Xia Huang had also silently broken through to the half-noble plane, which made Yi Futian a little wary. I'm sorry, Brother Huang. Ling Xiao and I are old friends. I can't let you kill him. Xia Huang smiled faintly. The barren dragon sword in his hand shone brightly. Strands of sword chi swept across the void, carrying with them the power to pierce through everything. Xia Huang, do you really want to be my enemy? Acheron's face darkened. Acheron, with me here, you can't kill Ling Xiao. Xia Huang's expression was still calm, but his eyes were firm. He was unwilling to back down. Boom! A powerful aura radiated from Acheron. He stared coldly at Xia Huang. The black dragon behind him moved freely. Dragon aura filled the air, as if it was going to strike at any time. Xia Huang's aura was like the Emperor's divine sword. It was vast and majestic. His sword aura was overwhelming. The clash of auras between the two caused the surrounding void to rumble. Countless rocks and trees were turned into dust. Are the two kings finally going to fight? Everyone's eyes were filled with shock and anticipation. Xia Huang and Acheron were both outstanding talents. Although they were only half-step noble realm experts, their strength and knowledge were not much weaker than the average noble realm experts. The relationship between the Dahuang Ancient Kingdom and the Dahuang Ancient Kingdom was tense. The warriors of the two countries had fought many times in recent years. Therefore, the two countries did not see eye to eye. Boom, boom. However, at this moment, two more powerful auras soared into the sky, causing Zhu Qin and spiritual master Chunyang to fly over. They exuded a majestic and mysterious aura as they stood beside Xia Huang. What? Huang Quan's eyes trembled, and his face instantly turned ugly. It was only when Zhu Qin and Pure Sun Spiritual Master revealed their auras that he realized that they were both half-step noble realm experts. The fact that there were 3 half-step noble realm experts in the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom shocked Hades. This was definitely not a good thing for the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom. The 3 half-noble realm experts also attracted the attention of the martial arts Holy Lands. After all, even in the martial arts Holy Lands, a half-noble realm expert was considered a top-notch combat power. All of a sudden, the Great Desolation Ancient Country became the focus of everyone's attention. Yellow Spring, the secret territory of longevity, is about to open. I advise you not to act rashly. If you suffer any injuries, I'm afraid your Great Yellow Ancient Country will be annihilated in the secret territory. Xia Huang said faintly. His gaze fell on Huang Haifeng and the other experts of the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. Huang Quan's face instantly turned ugly. He glared at Xia Huang and said coldly, "Are you threatening me?" "It's not a threat. I'm just telling you a fact." Xia Huang said slowly. Fine. Xia Huang, let's wait and see." Huang Quan gritted his teeth, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The Great Barren Ancient Kingdom actually had 3 noble realm experts, and they were all determined to stand up for Ling Xiao. It seemed that he would not be able to kill Ling Xiao today. This made Huang Quan angry and unwilling to accept. In the end, he gave in. Now that he was surrounded by heroes, it was indeed not a good time to fall out with the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom. Ling Xiao, you're really lucky. However, the secret territory of longevity is filled with dangers. Demonic beasts are everywhere. You have to be careful. If you fall into the hands of a demonic beast, you'll die without a burial place. Huang Quan said coldly as he looked at Ling Xiao coldly. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, "You don't have to worry. The secret territory of longevity is not enough to take my life. However, I'm afraid that once you enter the secret territory of longevity, you won't be able to come out again." Huang Quan's eyes turned cold as he stared at Ling Xiao. In the end, he snorted coldly and turned to leave. Huang Quan believed that the Wanshou sect would not let the matter rest after Ling Xiao killed the Tiger King of the Wanshou sect. However, the secret territory of longevity was more important at the moment, so they did not care about Ling Xiao for the time being. When the Wanshou sect was free, Ling Xiao would definitely die. Rumble. In the void above, the lords of the 5 great sacred lands attacked again. Unparalleled divine light shot out like pillars of heaven, controlling the will of heaven and earth and attacking the array at the stone gate. The void shook and divine light gushed out. However, the 5 elements diagram at the stone gate flowed flawlessly and easily blocked the attacks of the lords of the 5 great sacred lands. Moreover, divine chains of order shot up into the sky and attacked the sky. The terrifying fluctuations swept out in all directions, causing everyone's heart to tremble and their faces to turn pale. However, even if the lords of the 5 great sacred lands attacked together, they could not break the array at all. Moreover, the stone gate rumbled and countless runes bloomed, faintly showing signs of collapsing. Oh no! If this array is attacked forcefully, the secret territory of longevity will be completely destroyed once the stone gate collapses. Someone cried out in surprise, his eyes filled with solemnity. The lords of the 5 great sacred lands also stopped and stood in the void. Their eyes shone brightly as they thought of a way to break the array. A divine rainbow flew across the sky and a terrifying figure appeared in front of Ling Xiao and the others. It was an old man in a black robe, shrouded in a black divine light. He had a youthful face and white hair. His face was majestic and there seemed to be a mysterious vision of thousands of beasts galloping behind him. He stood there as if he was the center of heaven and earth. Everyone could not help but want to kneel down. He is the sect leader of the Wanshou sect, the Black Dragon King. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with awe and respect. The Changsun sect has not been destroyed yet? Interesting. You guys go and break the array. If you can break the array, I will not pursue the cause of the Tiger King's death. Otherwise, the Changsun sect will not be spared. The Black Dragon King's voice was like thunder. His eyes were indifferent as he looked at Ling Xiao and the disciples of the Changsun sect. What? The Black Dragon King is asking the people of the Changsun sect to break the array? Hee, it seems like he is really asking them to die. That may not be the case. I heard that the Changsun sect is the Changsun holy ground that dominated the world 10,000 years ago. Back then, the secret territory of longevity was their backyard. Who knows, they might really have a way to break the array. Rumors cannot be trusted. Look at these people, the highest cultivation is not even at the heaven realm. How can they break the array? I did not expect the Black Dragon King to take action personally. He is going to avenge the Tiger King. Chapter 338. Nangong Xian and the rest were shocked and angry. They did not expect the Black Dragon King to attack personally and force the Changsun men to break the array. However, if even the 5 Saint Lords could not break the array, the Changsun men would only be sending themselves to their deaths. Ling Xiao looked at the Black Dragon King and squinted his eyes. He said calmly, "What makes you think that the Changsun men can break the array? If you don't break the array, you will die." The Black Dragon King's voice was cold as if he was looking at a group of ants. If you don't break the array, you will die. 10,000 years ago, when the Changsun men swept across the 8 barren lands and suppressed our enemies, did the Wanshou men dare to speak like this? Do you really think that you are the ruler of the 8 barren region? Ling Xiao laughed out of anger. His body was surrounded by a faint golden light. He stared at the Black Dragon King without fear. Childish. This world respects strength. You are stronger than the Tiger King, so he deserves to die. I am stronger than you, so I am your ruler. Those who do not listen to me can only die. The Black Dragon King said coldly with an indifferent expression. Who do you think you are? Ling Xiao said word by word. The light in his eyes was like a divine sword, sharp and unparalleled. Everyone was also shocked by Ling Xiao's words. This was the Black Dragon King, one of the strongest people in the 8 Baron region. Was Ling Xiao not afraid of death? The Black Dragon King's eyes flashed coldly. A terrifying aura spread out from his body as if a black dragon was roaring behind him. An invisible pressure pressed down on Ling Xiao. He was like the power of the heavens. Black Dragon King, why are you so angry? A calm voice rang out. A middle-aged Taoist wearing a Taoist robe with the sun and moon above his head slowly walked over. He had a faint smile on his face. The sect leader of the Sun and Moon sect, the Yin-Yang Lord? When everyone saw the face of this middle-aged Taoist and felt the vast Yin and Yang Qi, they immediately recognized this person's identity. Lord Yin-Yang was a peerless cultivator who had entered the noble plane a long time ago. It was said that he was hundreds of years old and unfathomable. Was he going to stand up for Ling Xiao? Everyone felt that they could not see through Ling Xiao. There was Xia Huang in front, and now there was the Yin-Yang King. What was the background of this young man? Brother Yin-Yang, are you here to become my enemy? The Black Dragon King's eyes flickered as he slowly spoke. No, I'm here to break the formation. The lords of Yin-Yang smiled faintly. Break the formation? Even the Black Dragon King was surprised. That's right. Everyone knows the relationship between our Sun-Moon Star sect and the Changsun sect. Actually, it's not difficult to break this 5 elements Xiantian formation. We don't even need to break the formation to enter. The lords of Yin-Yang said with a faint smile. He could enter the longevity secret territory without breaking the formation? Everyone was also slightly taken aback, and they were somewhat puzzled. That's right. The longevity secret realm has existed since 10,000 years ago, and this 5 elements Xiantian formation is said to have been left behind by the strongest person in the world, the sky-devouring Supreme. Back then, when the longevity sect's disciples entered the longevity secret realm to train, they couldn't have broken the formation before they could enter, right? The lords of Yin-Yang said slowly as they looked at Ling Xiao with a strange gaze. Little friend Ling Xiao, can you let me take a look at the longevity qi refining technique? The lords of Yin-Yang looked at Ling Xiao with a smile. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the lords of Yin-Yang. He found that the lords of Yin-Yang were very calm and still had a smile on their faces. The 5 elements Xiantian formation was indeed left behind by Ling Xiao. It was extremely difficult to break the formation because the 5 elements power was the source of Ling Xiao's 5 elements laws. It was connected to the entrance of the longevity secret territory. If the formation was forcefully destroyed, the stone door, which was the entrance to the longevity secret territory, would also be destroyed. As long as the disciples of the Changsun sect cultivated the longevity qi refining technique, they could safely pass through the 5 elements Xiantian formation and enter the secret territory with the protection of their longevity type qi. This was not a secret 10,000 years ago. However, after 10,000 years, even the Changsun sect did not know about it. How did the lords of Yin-Yang know about it? Brother Yin-Yang, do you mean that we can enter the longevity secret territory if we cultivate the longevity qi refining technique? That's right. 10,000 years ago, the disciples of the Changsun sect could enter the longevity secret territory safely. The Black Dragon said slowly with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Ling Xiao and the disciples of the Changsun sect instantly became the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone looked at them with a burning gaze. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. The lords of Yin-Yang were really vicious. They forced the Changsun sect into a corner with just one sentence. What if I don't hand over the longevity qi refining technique? Ling Xiao said indifferently. If you don't hand it over, die. The Black Dragon said coldly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He could not wait any longer. He looked at the disciples of the Changsun sect as if they were his prey. He was ready to capture them and interrogate them. Even the lords of the 3 great saint lands were looking at Ling Xiao from the sky. Bastard! Since you want the longevity qi refining technique, I'll give it to you. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with unwillingness and anger. It was as if he could not withstand the pressure from the lords of Yin Yang and the Black Dragon and was starting to feel afraid. Ling Zhao reached out and grabbed an ancient book and threw it to the lords of Yin Yang. The lords of Yin Yang looked at the contents of the ancient book and smiled. Thank you, Ling Zhao. This is indeed the complete longevity qi refining technique. After saying that, he could not wait to start cultivating the longevity qi refining technique. As for the others, they also obtained the longevity qi refining technique as they wished. This was only a yellow class martial art. It was easy to cultivate the longevity qi. Soon, someone managed to cultivate the longevity qi. He could not help but run towards the 5 elements Black Heaven formation. The longevity qi emitted a mysterious light. As expected, the 5 elements Black Heaven formation did not continue to attack him. He walked through the stone door safely. It worked. Everyone, let's go. There are countless treasures of heaven and earth in the longevity secret territory. There's also the supreme inheritance. They're all mine. Suddenly, everyone's eyes turned red. One by one, they shouted and rushed into the longevity secret territory. Even the people from the 5 holy lands and several ancient countries rushed in. Surprisingly, the Black Dragon King did not make things difficult for Ling Zhao. He jumped into the longevity secret territory. Holy Sun, this longevity mystic realm was left behind by our patriarch. I'm really unwilling to let them destroy it just like that. Deng Yalan's eyes flashed with anger. Sigh, the Holy Sun has no choice. Everyone saw it. If we don't hand over the longevity qi refining technique, I'm afraid all of us will die here. The Black Dragon King and the lords of Yin Yang are not good people. Zhou Zhen and the others were also indignant, but they also felt helpless. At this moment, there was no trace of anger on Ling Zhao's face. His expression was incomparably calm and indifferent. His eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.